That countdown always has my head shaking.
It's a bop, yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's a little bop. Welcome everybody to Saturday Night Live Stream. Get it off your chest. This is the show where you can come on this live panel, get it off your chest. And I'd want to see some new faces tonight. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to welcome the beginning panel, which is Gonzo, flannel therapist tonight. Gonzo, how you doing tonight?
Doing good. Doing good. Glad to be on.
Yeah, good to see you.
Yeah.
And Anthony Velasquez. Anthony, how you doing?
Back from the future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good for you. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna drop this link in the chat right now. So anybody wants to come on, feel free to come on, get it off your chest. Let's talk about it. I'm gonna pin it to the top right now. As soon as it pops up on my stream here. Well, I'm going to try anyways. There we go. Pin message. So it's pinned to the top. Anybody wants to come on, get it off your chest? Come on. If you've never done it before, don't be shy. Don't be shy. And it is a no avatar night, so no avatars. Unless we know you. Somebody like JC or somebody else. It could be DDJ or whoever else. If you're watching, come on on. So, go ahead, Anthony.
I was saying if Universe Galaxy wants to come on as an avatar, that'd be fine.
That'd be great. He probably forgot about us.
Oh, he's big time now. Yeah.
Well, I always start get it off your chest with a couple get it off your chest topics. And I have two topics tonight. And the first one I want to talk about is a disposable society. Also a want it now society. We have to have it now. When we say disposable society, think about everything that's disposable. I don't care if it's a lighter. I don't care if it's a water bottle. I don't care if it's this can of coconut water that I'm drinking. Everything is disposable. I think in our society also now, friends have become disposable because of social media. Relationships have become disposable. Marriages, relationships, everything's disposable because you can be replaced. Yeah. You know, it's like Jesse said. I think Jesse Lee Peterson says you can order a woman online.
Yeah, mail order a woman. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think he quite understands when he had said that at 21. You know, you can order a woman online, and I think a couple of guys in the audience actually thought he was talking about like a mail order bride from Russia or something like that. I don't know if he was really thinking about dating apps and things like that, because think about it. I'm going to say that the first thing that, you know, a woman or a man does when they go into a breakup or a divorce is they just jump on a dating app. So you are disposable.
Well, so and then you've got the world of sex dolls as well.
Oh boy,
which is a whole other thing.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if he meant that either.
Yeah, I don't even know what to think about that.
Man, it's a whole other world, man. Like to get to a point where it's like, all right, this is my life. I'm just gonna order a fake woman.
Well, I heard the argument. I heard an argument. I think that was today or a couple days ago. Maybe it was today. An argument on that how come it's okay for women to have toys, you know, to pleasure themselves. What's the difference if a guy gets that, what's that flashlight thing or whatever?
Oh, the fleshlight thing?
All right, fleshlight? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, I think that's what it's called, yeah.
Okay, you got a fleshlight or like, what's the difference between a woman using a toy or a vibrator or something like that and a man just like having a sex doll? Now I think there's a big difference. Maybe it's because I'm a man. I don't know. You know?
Yeah.
Let me address the chat here. We got Primal Man. I think he's going to jump on here in a bit. Vivian, how you doing? We got Light in the Dark. Okay, cool. Good to see you again, man. Awesome. Yeah, any you want to jump on, anybody wants to jump on, click that link that I have pinned to the top and join the panel. So we'd love to see some new faces tonight. So yeah, so let's talk about, Anthony, tell us about our disposable society, our disposable life.
Yeah, I mean, it's I think, you know, this I mean, I don't want to call it a movement, but maybe an attitude. It kind of started probably really before my time, maybe when you were a kid, Tony. Maybe, you know, when we started, you know, we started importing our jobs, you know, overseas, and had stuff made more cheaply, and you know that, you know, so you could afford to, you know, buy more things, but they weren't that well made, and you had to replace them more often, and you know, and then it just became a way of life, you know. I mean, as far as product, I'm just taking products myself, not people, but and you know, that was always a thing growing up, you know, say, oh, buy American, you know, and then, you know, whatever, you know, that kind of thing. But I think it's more, I think it should have been more like buy quality, no matter where it's made, buy quality, associate with quality, and you only buy, you know, buy once, cry once. That's it. And you don't have to keep screwing with stuff. And we just, you know, we got it just became cheaper, and we outsourced our life, you know, we outsourced our production. I mean, and most people don't have any idea how things are made. They don't make anything. They can't make anything. They're totally dependent on ordering stuff from Amazon or whatever. They have no ability to do anything or make anything. So it's, you know, and it works as long as things keep flowing, it's fine. But when they don't, then, you know, it becomes an issue. And I think it has been an issue, and it's going to start becoming more of an issue in our lives.
Speaking of disposable, you and Nutshots are friends. Yeah. We're I'm still friends with him. I don't know if he's friends with me. I don't know. I'm good with him. You know,
yeah.
Marty's. I'm cool with Marty. Whatever. So
yeah, Marty's cool. Marty's cool. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, so I mean, you know, you know, I don't know. I think though that, you know, this was kind of put on us. You know, I mean, Tony, you know, you remember, like, say, for instance, you know, your dad or your uncle probably had a 1955 Chevy Bel Air or something like that, right?
Yeah.
But the 1956 looked different, and then the 1957 looked different than that. But they were all basically the same damn car. They just changed them every damn year, and they were great cars. But you know, that was the attitude where it's like, hey, let's keep changing stuff so that these guys will keep buying our products, you know. And then they got the idea of like, well, you know what, maybe we don't need to change it so much. We'll just make them worse so that they break down and they got to buy them more often, you know. And that just goes with a lot of things, you know. So and then it's like, hey, let's just have them made outside by people who are making, you know, way less than us, and then you can just have them replaced like several times a year, you know. So who cares, you know? And I think that's just products. I mean, but I think it's permeated more in our society with like relationships, families. You know, you can go, you know, if it's too hard or there's a shortcut, take it. And that's been the attitude.
That's a great point. And that also goes with friends, that goes with relationships, especially nowadays. In other words, nobody wants to hang in there. Nobody wants to nobody wants to fight for the other person. Nobody wants to when you have this attitude that you can be replaced, it doesn't do much for relationships. I think that's one of the big issues with our society right now, that you can get a divorce. You can get a divorce, I think, in a week. You can probably, you can.
I wish.
Yeah.
That'd be nice. I'd like to go to that place. That's the only exception I have to the disposable society. If we could figure out if I could do divorce in a week, that would be really nice. But unfortunately, once the courts get involved, it gets real slow. So
I had the easiest divorce of all, probably of anybody in the world. So
yeah,
sign the papers, sign the quitclaim deed, and we're done. So, no hard feelings.
Yeah,
it is what it is.
Yeah. You guys say that. I just find it funny because my mom told me recently, because she's been trying to get divorced forever, and it's just been a lot of issues, a lot of problems, like getting the paperwork filed through, and recently, like I think the divorce officially went through for my parents, and what ended up happening was I think she told the judge, like, yeah, I'm just trying to get this through. I want to get everything taken care of because, I've got stage 4 cancer and this and that and the other thing. And the judge was like, oh, okay, sure, it's approved. And it like went right through like that. And she was like, what? What the? So that's how you get a divorce, guys. You just got to have stage 4 cancer.
Just tell him you have cancer.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, when the first thing I think of disposable is it's disposable lighter. I'm curious, Gonzo, you're the fact checker. When did Bic lighters, disposable lighters?
That's a good question. When did they come into existence?
I'm trying to think when. Any idea, Anthony, when the first disposable lighter?
Well, yeah, I don't know you'd have to Google that one.
Bic would be the original. I remember Zippo.
Yeah.
Zippo
Well, I have both. I have a Zippo, and I don't smoke, so I just use it to light fire. But what's funny is Bic. I think Bic is still made in America. It's a disposable lighter, so it's not. It's a weird thing, because with something like that, I can't see your phone.
Yeah, it's out of focus. 1973. That's what it says.
Okay, I was going to say, because for me growing up, there was no such thing as a disposable lighter.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but
in my earlier years, I was born in '62, so that sounds about right.
But some things are. Well, I could see, that's one of those questionable things, because like I say, if you said, what's a better lighter, a Bic lighter or a Zippo? I'm like, a Bic's a way fucking better lighter, but it's disposable, so you're gonna have to buy another one eventually. But as far as lighting, well, it's you could throw a Bic in your glove box, and in 2 years you light it up, it fucking sparks up. A Zippo won't. You got to fucking fill it up again. It's not gonna. So for people who don't smoke, or who use it for campfires or just whatever, yeah, Bic is hands. And it's an American. I think it still is an American-made lighter. It's cheaply made, and it's but. I have found Bic lighters on the beach in the sand that have been floating in the ocean forever, and I still was able to run the strike on my hand, get it going, get the flint going, and then hit it, and that thing lights. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing I say, and I believe it is still an American-made product. They say it's not. It is disposable, but it's one of those things where like matches. I mean, I'm sure there's many companies in America that make matches, and of course they're the ultimate disposable thing, right? One use, that's it. But I would say that's not an example of what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
That's an example of someone making a great product, and it just happens to be disposable. or you know, I'm thinking of things that, you know, like, I don't know, let's say, like, you know, like buying a piece of crap car. And even sometimes people spend a lot of money on piece of crap cars. They really do. And it's like,
well, I don't think people hang on to cars. I mean, you know, I bought my truck. I bought my truck in 2007. It had about almost 2,000 miles on it. It's a 2006 F-150. And I still drive it. It rides beautifully. It drives beautifully. You know, it's a full-size truck with a little bit of extra cab. It's got a full 8-foot bed. I love it.
Yeah.
But I also look at my next investment in that same truck. I mean, you're looking at probably a minimum of $35,000 to $45,000.
Yeah.
It's insane.
No, it's insane. No, yeah, that's, you know, that's kind of a different animal. But you see, you know, like say like something like a Range Rover. Well, they don't, you know, people buy them and they're not even made in England anymore. They're made in China or I don't know where the hell they're made. They've always been pieces of crap as far as function. I mean, they do put some quality parts on them. I'm not saying they're total crap, but as far as what they're designed to do, which is run, they don't, you know, not very well.
Now, there's a Land Rover and a Range Rover, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's funny because the Range Rover is the expensive one, because my buddy had said he got a Range Rover and I had mentioned that he got a Land Rover. We joked about this for years. I said, well, what's the difference between a Land Rover and a Range Rover? He said about $40,000.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but people say the ones that were made about 10 years ago are pretty stout. They do have mechanical issues, but they're pretty stout, you know. So, you know, maybe that's true. You know, I don't know. But, you know,
I think a lot with vehicles is the electronics. You know, I think it gets more. Even my truck is there's things that I've always liked working on my own vehicles. We had to work on them. It was by necessity.
Yeah.
Well, we took, I remember using a Polaroid to take a picture of the brakes after you pull the wheel. You know, now you just take a picture on your phone, but you take a picture with a Polaroid so I could look to see exactly how the springs were and everything to be able to put the assembly back together.
Yeah.
So it was out of necessity that I learned to work on cars. And there's still things that I do myself, like change my own oil. I don't know if anybody else does that. I change my own oil. Yeah.
Change my own oil. Yep. Yep. Yeah. You know, that's a funny thing because so we only have one car. My wife, it'll be my wife's car once I get divorced, but she has a Honda, and the hardest part of changing the oil is pulling off that stupid plastic bonnet on the bottom, because it always breaks a fucking plastic screw that's on there.
Mm-hmm.
And it just drives me nuts. It's like, I mean, this is not a cheap car. Why would they put a piece of shit bonnet on the bottom? It's just for aerodynamics, I think. But and so I used to try to find the little screw that went in there. Now I just put a fucking zip tie on it. It's like, fuck it. I'll just put a zip tie on it every time it breaks, and then I'll just cut it off when I have to change the oil again. You know, I mean, the car is great, but just the thought processes on some of this shit is like, why would you skim dollars on that? It's just stupid. But
Anthony, what was the saying you had about buying once?
Oh yeah, buy once, cry once.
Yeah. Carly says about Weber. Yeah, Weber grills are great. I have a Weber gas grill.
I got one too.
It's kind of an oval one, and that thing has been sitting outside. And again, I'm right across from the ocean, so it gets a lot of, just a lot of salt and whatever. But that thing fires up. I've probably had it for probably 7-8 years now, and I could see it right here from where I'm sitting now. But that thing is still. I had to replace the burner one time. Stainless steel, but yeah, you buy something that's quality, especially Weber grills. They're quality. and they'll last a long time. I'm going to say my grill is probably 7 or 8 years old.
Yeah, yeah. I got a medium Weber grill on my patio. It's probably about 10 years old, still pristine. And I got a small square one, but both are charcoal. And I use the square one for camping.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I probably never have to replace them. So yeah.
That's funny because even we talk about disposable grills are disposable. I mean, they are. You look at garbage. You look at one thing. If anybody grills, one thing you got to do when you grill, and you have to have, which is a cast iron actual grill. The grill has to be cast iron. If it's just the metal grates that sit on there, they don't heat up enough. They won't hold the heat. Cast iron will hold the heat. That's why I love my Weber grill. You know, when I preheat it, that thing gets up to 550 degrees, which is crazy. Mm-hmm. You know, that's crazy for a grill to get that kind of heat.
It's funny that you guys say that because I noticed that around here, somebody took like I don't know if it was the same person, but it seemed like the same person. They had bought like 3 or 4 barbecue grills, and they had just left them. They just left them out, hadn't cleaned them or anything. There's all these flies buzzing around them. And I was like, oh, man. And then I was at the store today, and I realized, I'm like, oh, wait, that's the barbecue grill. It's like a $20 grill. This thing's like $20. And so they just like buy them, and they just throw them out or whatever. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, well, the difference is my small grill, I don't know, it could probably hold, I don't know, I'll say could probably hold maybe 15, 20 burgers at the most. But the difference is when you look in the store and you see that Weber grill like I have, and you see the other ones are the same size, the cheaper ones, how come these are $30 to like $60 and the Weber grill is $220? Well, I found out why.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, now I have a question. Can you make, because I'm not very experienced in grilling, can you make like one of those cheap grills great by, like, I don't know, like using a giant cast iron skillet? You just put it on the grill.
You could. I have a skillet. In fact, it's in my oven. It stays in my oven at all times. Mm-hmm. I have a cast iron skillet that has the grill marks. It has it doesn't have a flat bottom. I don't even know what you call it. Yeah, but I actually leave my I don't know if you guys ever do that, but I leave my cast iron in the oven at the bottom rack. Even when I use the oven, they're always in there.
Yep.
So.
Yeah. Well, I leave once I clean my skillets, I don't use cast iron. It's heavy as hell. I'd like to, but.
Well, think about when you buy. There's something that's not disposable.
Yeah, it's true. No,
you buy a Teflon pan, or I have one of these newer ones, the green granite or whatever it's called. It's aluminum with the coating, and I know aluminum, holds great heat. But think about it: a cast iron skillet, cast iron pan is not disposable. It'll last forever. In fact, the one I was just telling you about, the grill marks, I found it underneath my house. So I gave it to a buddy, and he had a sandblasting machine, and he sandblasted it, all the rust off it and cleaned it up for me. Then I oiled it, put it in the oven, and I also use that on the grill. So I put the cast iron pan on the grill itself. So let's say I want to make fish or something like that. A lot of times I'll use the cast iron because it's easier than cleaning the grill top. And you can just pull it off and bring it in the house. So.
Yeah, that's probably the way to go. I say, anybody who's ever bought one or had one, it ain't like a regular pan. It's heavy as hell.
Well, Viv asked, can you take a totally rusted, abandoned cast iron pan and scrub it and clean it up and to brand new season it, and it will last? Yes. Oh, she's not asking. She's telling.
Yeah.
Well, I agree. That's exactly what I did.
But
they're like pipes. They're like pipes. They outlive you.
Mm-hmm.
They really will.
If they're good.
Mm-hmm.
Copper
skillet.
Right. Copper pipes.
Oh, copper
pipes. That was from Moonstruck. Copper pipes. Remember that movie?
I haven't seen it.
Isn't that with Cher or something?
What's that? Yeah, with Cher. Yeah,
Is
Cher.
it? I don't know if I ever saw that movie.
You should watch it. It's a total fucking what would I call it? It's a total blue pill movie, but you know, like Cher's been sexy since I was born. You know, no, but it's interesting. It's good. If you especially if you're Italian, you'll love it. You know, I'm not Italian, but I love the humor in it. So it's good.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the movie I remember with Cher was the guy with the messed up face, Mask. He played like the biker mom or something. I think Sam Elliott was in that too.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I never watched that movie just because I don't like to watch distorted people like that. I don't know. It's my thing. I don't know. It's just my thing. But I'm going to show you something that's cheap, but I say would be well made, and it's an American made product. You ready?
Oh yeah.
These fucking things will last for goddamn ever.
They do.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
They do. I had my Playmate cooler that the only reason that I had to get rid of it is because I left the job site with my tailgate down, and when it hit the road at like 55, 60, when I kind of, oh crap, and then went back for it, there wasn't a whole lot left of it. I tried to fix it, but yeah, Playmate coolers last forever.
And do you know how they're made? They're made with a plastic injection. So there's a metal thing that they basically inject hot plastic into a metal mold, and it dries for about 30 seconds, and it opens up, and that's it. It's a real. I was in the industry. I'm kind of still in that industry, so I know how it's made.
Injection molding, right? Isn't that what it's called?
Yeah, injection.
Yeah, I remember doing that in high school. We used to do that. We actually used to do that in like our shop.
So I mean, they sell them for like, you know, probably like 10, 15, 20 bucks. Probably cost them like, and nowadays without, you know, probably cost them like less than $1 to make it. But you know, so there's a lot of profit in that. But it's a hell of a product. You know, so I'm just saying, I mean, you know, it's cheaply made, but it's made to last. You know, it doesn't have to be.
One thing growing up is we didn't have was nobody bought water when I was growing up. Mm-hmm. So let's have our fact checker, Gonzo. Yeah. When did bottled water become popular? I mean, there's water like Evian. There's, you know, I'm sure there was Perrier water growing up. Mm-hmm. It was also, to me, water growing up would be club soda or sparkling water that they would use for drinks. But I don't think that bottled water was something. I'm going to take a shot at this and say it became popular in the late 80s.
I'll tell you when it became popular. During Desert Storm.
Okay.
1990, 1991, because that's when they brought tons and tons of crates of water to the soldiers in Desert Storm, and that was just and so that kind of developed that industry. That's when it all started. If it wasn't for Desert Storm, you wouldn't have had that. You know, it may eventually it would have happened, but that really spurred it, because you had 500,000 soldiers go there, at least from the United States and more from other countries, and they all needed water, and we just couldn't use the old ways of delivering water to soldiers the way they did in World War II or Vietnam or all that shit. So that's really when it sparked.
Anthony, you're a little closer to my age. How old are you again?
50.
Okay, so you know what hose water tastes like. A lot of people don't.
I like hose water.
There's
hose water
taste. Yeah, it's a certain.
Yeah,
I
man.
will say, when we were drinking the snow water out here during the freeze, and you know, you get little bits of grass in there and some dirt and stuff, and I had to boil it, right? And so it was like kind of grassy tea. It was like tea, basically.
Actually, you know, yeah, it was funny. When bottled water first came out, I used to like to drink tap water because it tasted better. Well, or at least I thought it did because that's what you're used to.
Yeah.
I like what
Tap water is water.
says
You know?
hose water with extra spider.
Yeah.
And that was the key. You got to let it run for a second to get the. See, now in Florida, we got hose water with extra lizard. So what happens is the lizards, they like to climb in anything here in Florida. So one thing I notice is because I've had lizard in my mouth before too, where I go ahead and grab somebody's hose, turn it on, and a lot of times the heat too, you got to run it through because the water will be hot. But yeah, I've had lizard just shoot right out of that hose, man, and lizard eggs too, depending on how long the hose hasn't been run. So
that's hilarious.
Yeah, so really, I mean, you get a little protein with your water. So
yeah, a little bit of probiotics. You get So I got a small history about the bottled water thing. So it looks like it really became mainstream in the 70s, but it's apparently been around since 1767.
Wow.
Which that blew my mind, but this is apparently what happened. It said it looks like the plastic bottles weren't really used commercially until 1947. And they were expensive, like Vivian was saying. It was a very fancy schmancy thing. And they remained expensive until the early 1950s when high-density polyethylene was introduced. And so then after that, it looks like the demand increased. And then in the 70s, 350 million gallons of bottled water were being sold in the U.S., about 1.5 gallons per person per year, which is not a lot compared to now. But that's where it really started taking off was the 70s. And that was most of that water was like office coolers, those 5-gallon jugs. I'm not sure if those are really all that common anymore. I mean, maybe in offices, but.
Well, there's one other big thing too, besides water bottles, and I look at things that are on the beach now, and things that I notice, but probably right now, the biggest thing that I see is disposable, and I see more than anything is masks.
Yep.
Would you agree?
Yeah.
Anthony, I see masks in the parking lot. I see them on the side of the road. I see them on the bike path. I see masks everywhere.
I saw a meme. I saw this meme and it was like, it says like, aren't you so glad that we banned straws? And it's like all these guys and they're holding up these filthy friggin' masks that have washed up all these places. And it was like, yeah, it's like, guys, the problem's not going to end. It's amazing.
Well, guys, disposable masks, disposable lighters, disposable relationships. That's kind of where we're at. And my words of encouragement to people when it comes to I don't know what happened to Anthony there, but when it comes to relationships is don't let them be disposable. So don't let them be disposable.
So you're thinking of a permanent mask? Is that what you're thinking?
Oh, God, look at that. Yeah.
Incredible. That's what's going on.
Yeah, maybe we should do a permanent mask for people who are really into them. Maybe we should have them sewn on their face with a filter, replaceable filter.
Amazing.
What do you think?
Do like that procedure that like smokers who get cancer and they get their voice box cut out. It'll be something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, Vivian said relationships shouldn't be disposable, and I'll agree with you there, Vivian. I think that people, nowadays, I think your value can be only temporary sometimes, and that's kind of a shame. But that's kind of the world we live in. I don't think people really want to stay together, but they want it. We're in a want it now society. We're in a disposable society. So your value a lot of times is only as good let's say you make a mistake, well, you can be replaced, or you do something that the other person doesn't agree with, you can be replaced. So that's part of our society.
Yeah. We're in a society of essential and non-essential people.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably the creepiest thing I've actually heard come to fruition.
Yeah.
In the language, but
yeah, it's funny, when this whole thing started, I realized I was an essential business. So I'm like, I have to get papers now? I have to get my papers to show that I'm essential?
What the?
But now so to not, I mean, we are a disposable society, but to turn that around, what do we do? What are we going to do about that? And it's a problem. Well, it's,
Angels Don't Fall says the number one cause for divorce is marriage.
I mean, you have a point.
Yeah, I mean, that's, yeah. I give you a lot of credit on that one.
I was gonna do the wrong analogy for that, but it's like 100% of people, 100% of people who get married will die.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
Oh my God, look at that. See that? Good about that.
Well, I'm going to go second get it off your chest topic. Let me take a big drag here.
Is that an e-cig or a marijuana cigarette?
And that's weed, marijuana.
Oh man, that's the local stuff, right?
This is sweet Virginia tobacco. But weed, pot, marijuana, Mary Jane, the wacky weed, ganja. What other good names do we have for weed? The kind.
The devil's lettuce.
Yeah, bud, grass.
Wacky tobacco.
Wacky tobacco. I know I'm missing some. The reason I'm bringing this up, I think since pot has been, we'll call it legalized and decriminalized in a lot of states, especially in Florida, I smell pot everywhere. I don't go into a convenience store without somebody walking in and reeking of weed. I go by the Walmart. You can smell pot. In my backyard, I can smell pot, and I have no idea where it's coming from. I can be driving in the car and sitting at a traffic light and smell weed.
What the?
It says Florida smells like weed. Yeah, it does smell like weed. I'm curious. You guys got any other good names for weed? But
Sinsemilla.
Sinsemilla, yeah.
Next election, what's it going to be? Is Florida going to be red? Is it going to be blue? Is it going to be green?
Yeah.
It's going to be green.
There's that one. It's an old reggae song. I do not sniff the coke. I only smoke the Sinsemilla. Have you heard that? I'm not sure if that's Yellow Man, possibly. I do not sniff the coke. I only smoke the Sinsemilla.
Yeah, I remember that song. Yeah. He was smart. A smart guy. Yeah, don't do heroin or cocaine or what did George do? Fentanyl? Don't do that shit. Kill you. Yeah,
don't sniff coke. Song by Pato Banton.
Ponto Banton.
Ponto Banton.
Yeah,
Okay.
Ponto Banton. Yep.
Yeah. That's old school reggae. It's funny because I forget what you just said, but I'm like, all right, it's Ponto Banton, right, Anthony? Yeah, that's
Ponto Banton.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. I'm pretty much reggae'd out. People say, "Oh, you like reggae?" I'm like, "Shit, I've heard so much fucking reggae. No, I don't want to hear anymore. Tired of it." Yeah, but yeah,
you got some chronic just now and going to. There's another word, chronic. The chronic just now and going to have a bong rip or a pipe after a long week without. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, you got your ganja fans.
Mushroom tea.
Yeah.
We're having a late 420 episode today.
Yeah, 420.
Kidding, huh?
Skunk.
Yeah.
It's funny. Skunk is the best because that's exactly what it smells like. Skunk.
Yeah. There's another one, skunk.
That's probably the feature of it that I least like, the smell. It's like, dude, if someone could come up with a better way to make that thing not smell like fucking skunk. Oh God.
The dank. The dank.
Dank.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dank.
Dickety dank. Dickety dank. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure you can't, but can you like age, like, with tobacco, they age it and they put like bourbon on it and stuff. I wonder, it would probably smell even worse if you aged that in bourbon.
They probably could do it, but people get.
That sounds like a great idea.
That's probably a really good idea. Like age that shit or somehow do it like that.
Yeah.
But it's been illegal for.
It's now coming out. Spliff. Wedding cake. Look.
Yeah. It's been illegal for so long that people want to smoke it as soon as it's ready. As soon as it's ready, they want to smoke it up. They don't want to wait for it.
Chiba.
Yeah. Yep. That's right.
I wonder if there's any more names that we're missing.
I'll tell you something. I was never a big pot guy. I actually only smoked a few times. It just made me see things and just feel real bad. But one thing that a narcotic that I had that I really loved was called kava kava. I don't know if you guys ever heard of it.
We have kava bars here in Florida.
Kava kava. It's a root.
Yeah, we have kava bars. You can go and get
drink
kava.
that.
It tastes disgusting though. I did it one time.
Yeah, but the high is like the best drunk you've ever had, but you wake up perfectly fine. You just fall asleep. It's awesome. Ziggy. Yeah.
There was another thing that came out years ago. It was like pot, but it wasn't pot. Salvia? Does that sound right? Salvia? Gonzo, you want to fact check? Salvia. I want to call it salvia. Kava and kratom.
Oh, kratom. We could talk about kratom. I did some
kratom.
research on that stuff.
Is that from Star Trek?
Kratom?
Yeah. Wasn't that a planet on Star Trek? I don't know.
It might as well be. Sage. Oh wait, no. Salvia is sage. Apparently, that's the plant sage.
That's some Indian shit.
I'm going to bring on Martin. Martin. I'm trying to read his name.
It's in the mint family.
Sexaman. Martin Sexaman.
Sounds like a Brit.
I want you to identify yourself real quick when I bring you on. Martin.
Hello.
How you doing?
How you doing, mate? I'm doing
good.
great,
What's
mate. I just wanted to ask you a question.
Oh man, was he a troll?
What was that, Martin?
I just wanted to ask you a question, mate. I wanted to ask you a question, mate.
What's that, Mike?
Are you gay?
I don't know, but your father is.
Are you a
These
nigger?
Brits, man.
What's that?
They call you a miggler? What was that?
I think he asked you if you're a Miga.
A Miga? Oh yeah, Migas are great. Make Ireland great again.
Yeah.
Well, it's early for a troll, but that's all right.
But why are these trolls from England? They got nothing going on over there.
They're all locked down over there.
Yeah,
Can't even leave their house.
they're all drunk.
Oh God, man.
But we appreciate you, Martin.
Yeah. Thanks for being a Miga.
Yeah.
Nice.
Let's say John Boston. John, how you doing tonight? Good to see you. Our newest friend.
Bring on John Boston. Bring him on. Come on, John.
So let me ask you guys a question. Do you think that weed is dumbing down America? Because I do. I really think it's a downfall. I think it should have been left black market. I don't think it should have been. I think it should have been decriminalized but not legalized. Does that make any sense?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you need to go to jail for it, but I don't think it should be legal.
I'm going to disagree with that. I don't personally smoke it, but I think that, you know, from what I can tell, it's basically like, you know, it's like, you know, basically an effective alcohol type, you know, potency. I mean, you know, and relatively. I mean, it doesn't make people. I think dumb people do it and they act dumb, but you know, there's a lot of very. You know, I don't see that. I don't see that. I think people should be able to do it if they want to do it, and it has a lot of benefits to certain people. It stinks, you know. They could improve that shit, but
you know what? I've had a few people in the past year that have really good jobs told me that they don't smoke, but they look forward to as soon as they retire to smoke. And
that's government shit.
Yeah, but
yeah. I mean, I don't know, Tone. I mean, you know, I mean, I've, you know, I say when I've used it,
I don't hate on people that smoke at all. I don't, but I've always been, I think having it decriminalized was cool, but not legalized.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
yeah. I think, you know, there's a lot of factors. Like, yeah, Vivian just said the THC is so high percentage, it's not even fun, which I have to agree with. I mean, I tried when I tried weed, I tried a couple different strains, and there was one that really just I did not vibe with that at all. I had to stop at some point, and I switched to another strain, and I felt a little bit better on that one. But it really is extremely high THC, very low CBD stuff. It's not like your pot from the, you know, the 60s or the 80s or whatever. It's not your grandma's pot. And so I think that's part of the issue. I think part of it, I'm not sure about it being like, I've gone back and forth on making it illegal, legalizing it, the whole thing. But I think really like the fact that it's becoming popular and becoming mainstream and people are, you know, making it a huge part of their lives, I think that says more about the state of like people internally in this country.
Yeah.
You know? And so I think maybe it's not so much, because I do think that in a sense, yeah, the pot is dumbing people down. It does dumb you down. But also, you know, people are wanting to tune out. I think they're just wanting to tune out. And so I think like we need to solve that problem of people being hopeless and people just wanting to tune out of life altogether.
Yeah. Well, you know, and some people could, you know, if someone was to be prescribed a you know, a type of a medication that would be like like, you know, a derivative of heroin, or they could smoke marijuana or you know, ingest it in any way they choose. I'd say the marijuana would probably be a better solution if it does what they need it to do, you know, as far as pain. I think that would be better, you know, than to get hooked on an opioid, because I think the opioid addiction is worse than the pot. And if we, you know, so I'm, you know, that's why I say I just, you know, people abuse it, of course, you know, no doubt about it. But remember, you know, back in, you know, when I was young, and probably Tony remembers this, I mean, people used to abuse alcohol like crazy, you know. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, now we can drink on a stream right here, but back I remember my parents and uncles or whatever, and they'd take a 6-pack, put it in the center council and drink while they were driving to the beach or whatever they're doing, you know. It was nothing. I mean, you know, so and that stuff, you know, caused a lot of problems, and we finally got more of a handle on it, you know. So, you know, I don't know. I think that, you know, but I do, you know, but then again, maybe the allowance of the pot has also encouraged other people to do other things, like, you know, like crack and heroin, or God knows what the hell they do. I mean, there's so many damn things out there. I mean,
in my life, being in the construction business, for God, it's been wow. Let me think now. Has it been that long? Yeah, it's been a while. So we're talking probably. I've been in construction for 38 years now, and pot is always a part of the construction business. It just is. And if you're a contractor out there and you don't think that, you're crazy, because I'll guess and say that in Florida, I'll put a number and say 50% of the people on building homes and doing their construction work are high, pretty much. And that might seem like a high number, but I can tell you that that's a fact. That's a fact. Also, I've been in surf culture, because everybody knows that surfers don't smoke any weed at all. So between construction and surf culture that I've spent, well over half my life here doing, those are big parts of those societies or those cultures for sure. And I will be honest with you that surfing big waves high is okay. It's maybe it's a calming effect, but whatever. So
yeah. Well, I think that 50% is probably, but maybe so. I think people who smoke, like if you smoke pot, you can't get a government job, you can't get any kind of a security clearance, and then that may change, but so
maybe construction workers in meth are the norm. Geez, I don't know about that. Yeah,
could be. Meth is meth on paper doesn't sound fun. I've never done it, but it just seems like the worst fucking thing in the world.
I don't want anything that makes me go faster than I already go.
Yeah.
I mean, and stay up for hours. I mean, I had a roommate that was he did meth on the weekends, and his thing, he said, this was years ago. He said, he did meth on the weekends. He wasn't an addict or whatever, but he did meth on the weekends. And he said, I would do meth, and then I could drink all night and I wouldn't get drunk, and I could F all night and I would never come. I'm like, that sounds like a fucking nightmare. That sounds like a fucking nightmare, dude. It's like, I mean,
you can't finish anything.
You can't get drunk and you can't come. I'm like, oh fuck, wow, what a great drug. Oh, well, God,
I mean, basically, meth is speed, and growing up, yeah, I've taken some speed, and that's fact. When you've taken speed, you cannot get drunk. You can't. It's an impossibility.
Yeah, not good.
Hang on, let me bring on Martin again.
Oh, this will be fun.
Hey, Martin.
Hello, mate.
Are you?
I just want to say I'm sorry, man. Wrong.
Oh, man.
What's up, mate? That sounds like a fake.
I feel like it's not a fake accent, mate.
Where you from?
I'm from France.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
Did we get up on the wrong foot, Martin?
Do you have anything against black people?
Absolutely not.
No.
Do I have anything against black people? No.
Yeah. Sorry, Martin.
What?
I know where you're going with this. So. By the way, Martin, I banned you, so you have to try another channel, because that one's banned now.
Why are all these guys from England or whatever? I guess he says he's from France. I guess I don't know.
Yeah.
And then we had that one guy who was trolling us on the
I guess they got nothing going on over there. They need to get some live streams in fucking France.
Yeah, no, who was that guy? It was the guy he called in and he was like talking about how his wife is a Muslim.
Oh yeah.
Or something.
Oh yeah.
And he's
that guy was great.
Yeah.
Oh dude, I don't think I was on that night, but I was like, troll. This guy's a fucking troll. There's no way, dude. I was like, no fucking way, dude. No.
Well, Martin, I want to play this for you right now. Martin, whatever your name was, sexism or whatever the heck it was. There's one thing I thought about you, and you were
amazing. Amazing.
It was good though, man.
I'm sure if he's high, that just freaked him out.
Yeah. We need more trolls, actually. Trolls are the best. Aren't they? They make the best shows.
They really are. They really are. That was good.
Yeah.
The avatar and the giggling in the background, that's pretty much a giveaway. But
yeah, but I mean,
what was his last name? It was successful.
Yeah, it's almost like
what did I say on the last?
It was we're gonna define sex.
I love
successful.
There's Michael Foster. Good to see you, Michael Foster. If you want to jump on, you're welcome. We're talking about weed and trolls, which really go hand in hand. Weed and trolls.
Oh, he probably knows some trolls and some weeds. Yeah. No, yeah, I love successful women. They're great. the Freudian slip, of Tony Bruno.
What happened? I'm not sure what happened when I said that.
You were being honest. That's the truth. You're being honest. Finally, you're being honest with us.
If anybody watched the last stream before this Thursday night, it was Learning Life the Hard Way. It was a really good stream, so check that out. It was really good. I usually don't listen back to my streams or my videos unless it's something that I produced and not a live stream. But I actually listened to that one yesterday, and it was informative to me. Also, I think there's a lot of good nuggets in that last stream. So check out the Thursday night reality check for sure. So, this get it off your chest Saturday night, guys. So anybody wants to jump in? I know we already had one, Martin. So Martin, you can come back if you have a different avatar. We'll let you back on here for sure.
Yeah.
Not a problem. I'm gonna get there for now.
You really gave yourself up on Thursday, Tony.
Well, did
the Floridian slip. I hope you're.
We're gonna define sex in the next show.
I hope your GF didn't see that. Right?
Yeah, we were talking about defining success, and Tony, we're going to define sex. That's what happened. Yeah.
What I wonder is like, does she has to go and review these videos? I know damn well she does. What do you think? She does. I'm sure she does.
We'll bring Emmanuel Gudson on here. Our brother from Ireland. Good to see you. Good to see you.
Oh man.
Hey fellas. Hey Anthony.
Hey, how you doing, my friend?
Good. I was just checking in to say hello. So
we were talking about weed. So tell me about your thoughts on weed and what it's doing to society. Do you think the new strains of weed being so strong is dumbing us down? Do you think it helps people? Do you think it harms people? Is it medicine, or do they use the medicine word to push?
It is medicine, right? So there's huge benefits to the herb, in medicine and everything. But look at what happened in Amsterdam. All the teenagers and all using it. They were dropping out of school and everything, I heard. So it is bad for the youth. And long-term regular use of weed really fucks you up. It damages your personality in a really bad way. I always go about saying that I never smoke it, and I don't, right? Except that one time, right? There's always the one time. So there was the one time that my brother is a really heavy weed user, right? And it's damaged his personality, and we always get into fights and everything. And I felt bad about judging my brother. I didn't want this grief between us. So I decided, right, instead of judging him and calling him a junkie and everything, I brought myself down to his level. So I got a little bit of weed to say, look, I'm gonna smoke this, so I can't accuse him of being, like a fucking like a junkie, loser. So if I do it myself, then I'm guilty as well, and I won't judge him so harshly, right? That's what I wanted to do, and I did. I took a huge risk with my mental health. Like I took a huge risk because I know that the weed for me, it makes me 10 times.
Oh,
I know.
oh, 10 times what? Come on, Emmanuel.
Oh,
Don't hold us in suspense here. I've got somebody named Grim Chemist on here. Emmanuel, if you can jump back on. I don't know if you want me to kick you or you're having an issue.
Isn't it 3 a.m. in Emmanuel's time?
Yeah, he's from Ireland. So
The fuck
so anyway.
is he on
Emmanuel,
fucking?
I'm gonna if you're seeing me, I'm gonna boot you, but come on back on because you froze up. So just come on back on. You're always welcome here. Come on back on. I want to hear the rest of this story.
How's it so damn bright in
I'm
this
gonna bring
fucking
the
house?
Grim Chemist on. Let's see what he has to say. Hold tight, fellas. Grim Chemist,
Hey, what's up, dog?
how's it going, man?
Oh no!
I'm good, man. I'm real good. How you doing?
So what's up?
Oh, man, I heard the topic you guys were talking about, and I heard what old boy over there was saying from Ireland. But, I can't agree with him on the whole that, weed is a bad thing, man.
Okay, go for it.
So, I mean, I've heard that he was saying something about, oh, yeah, look what happened in Amsterdam. All the teenagers started smoking reefer and they were, dropping out of school. But
Where are you from?
I'm from originally New York City.
Okay, all right. Where are you at now?
I live out in the country now.
Okay.
I was born and raised out there in New York City, and when I got, up to a proper age to move out on my own, I did what I could for the better of me and my family. And, I set up some property out there in the sticks, you know what I'm saying, in God's country where we're free.
Okay.
But
Right.
essentially what I'm saying about the weed, man, is, I was in a high school with 4,000 kids in it in New York City, and weed was highly illegal at the time. Even if you got caught with a small amount, you were doing jail time. And I'm going to say 2,000 kids in that school smoked regularly every day.
Yeah.
So to say they would drop out, I don't agree with that. I've been tested for IQ. I've smoked, heavily for PTSD, and my IQ has been off the charts my entire life.
Why do you have PTSD?
I have PTSD because I've experienced a lot of traumatic, violent events in New York City.
Okay.
So, when you see people getting shot next to you, shit like that, it kind of messes you up where you're always kind of looking over your shoulder. But that's kind of irrelevant. It's just, it's a medicine that helps with my mental condition. And there are people that benefit from this medicine. And I think that if used, the right way, there should be access to this for everyone. You shouldn't have to go to someone to tell you it's good for you or it ain't.
Do you think it affects people different? Because I do.
Of course. Just to give you an example, I know people that if they smoke it, they get headaches. And no matter what they do, they just get headaches and they don't enjoy it. And it's just not good. I've seen people that smoke it and get silly, and then some people smoke it and they get medicated and they don't really change much. It's really based on you. After you smoke for a reasonable amount of time, you won't, feel any effects of it unless you increase your dosage massively. But the tolerance shelf is very small. So, a couple of doses over the course of a week, and you're basically not even having any of the effects associated with the mind anymore that people associate with, giggling and having funny thoughts. And it's more of a body type of thing. It's also based on what kind of strain you're gonna, intake. Also, the method of intake is also going to vary. If you take smoke a joint, a bong rip, a pipe, if you eat it, it's going to have, highly different effects that are catalyzed by the way that it's ingested and the way people generalize things into one broad spectrum. I feel it's, you know, a little bit different.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. You know, I've done edibles before, and they do absolutely nothing for me.
Right, and some people have no effect, but if I eat edibles, I get crazy, and like I won't eat edibles, and I smoke every day. I cannot eat.
Yeah, we keep losing them.
I think his connection's high.
Edibles, I start tripping out like I'm on acid. You know, if I'm not ready to be tripping out.
Okay. Yeah, you got a connection issue, Grim Chemist. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
sometimes,
I think it does.
I mean,
it's different.
Yeah, sometimes if your internet connection smokes pot, it doesn't work out. You know, it's, you know, not all internet connections can handle that shit.
I think there's a lot of people that are very, very big advocates of smoking weed. I try not to think about it, but I'm not going to. Let's put it this way: I'm not going to be in the war for making pot legal, but I get all people's different takes on smoking weed or edibles or marijuana and how it's medicine and things like that. I get it. I would imagine if you're somebody who's in a lot of pain, you know, let's say you're having, you know, you're in a stage 4 cancer and your body's being eaten up, and if it helps you, I think that's great. I think that's great. But I think it was Emmanuel. I think it was on Primal Man stream where Emmanuel Godson said he wants to leave this earth straight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I remember that, and I'm like, you know what? That's in other words, he wants to go into the next world, being able to, you know, I guess mentally deal with it or
with clarity. Yeah.
Yeah, with clarity. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. Is Emmanuel Catholic? I gotta assume he is.
No, he's not.
He's not?
No.
Oh, that's a bad Irishman, man. Oh shit.
Yeah, Emmanuel, and then the chemist
wrong,
guy. If you guys want to jump back on Emmanuel Godson, you froze up, and the chemist guy. I'd like to hear these different viewpoints on these topics that we'll bring up. I had a feeling that weed, pot, and ganja would be it's kind of a buzzword type topic because people have so many different viewpoints on it.
Yeah.
I think there was a time in my life I remember growing up where like we couldn't get weed. I'm gonna bring him back on. There he is.
Hey man, sorry about that.
I was just telling about a time when I was younger we couldn't get weed. I mean, we couldn't get it, and I remember we used to like scrape our pipes and our anything we would grind it up in or anything you could do just to like smoke it.
Yeah, I remember those days, man. It was there was a point in time where it was actually like hard to come by.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you guys heard what I was saying. Where did I cut out?
I'm not sure. Not that I'm high or anything that I don't. Remember.
I hear you. But yeah, man, basically I was just saying that, like, you know, I think it has completely reasonable, you know, benefits. And I feel like if we're a country that's based on freedom and we're going to let people, you know what I mean, drink alcohol until they pass out and puke on themselves. Me personally, when I stopped drinking alcohol and I only smoked a little bit of weed, I haven't been arrested since. So, you know, I mean, I'm just saying there's ups and downs to things. And, you know, I think people could benefit from being responsible adults instead of having a government, you know, determine what's okay and what's not okay for you to do. Yeah,
no, I agree with that. We got Angel says, Angels Don't Fall says resin is gold and a savior on the dry spells. That's so funny. I remember those days well when I was younger.
I hear you, man. I won't look down on someone smoking resin. You know, I'll tell you it's not good for you, but I'll do it if I run out.
Yeah. Yeah, and so I was talking earlier, I don't know if you heard, but I thought like this was my opinion, and it's just my opinion that I don't mind the fact. I think it should have been decriminalized, but not legalized. Does that make any sense, Grim Chemist?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter to me if it's legal or not if they don't put me in jail for growing it and smoking it.
Yeah, but I think you can still get in trouble where you live, depending on where you live, unless it's like California. But I don't think too many places let you grow weed.
No, most places don't let you grow it, but where I live, it's about to be recreational for growing.
Do you mind telling us where you live? What state?
I live in the Ozarks. I'll tell you that much.
Oh, okay, cool. Right on. Yeah,
Right up
it's
there with
funny
Frank.
because I was thinking about selling my house and moving out to the Ozarks, Arkansas.
It's the place to go, bro. Ozarks is where it's at right now. The way this country's looking.
Yeah. Unless you like women with teeth, then don't go there.
Well, you gotta bring your women to the Ozarks. You know what I'm
There
saying?
you go. That's exactly what I was going to say.
You
Bring
know,
your own woman, yeah.
if the women like you, you can kind of get any woman you want. Just import them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Don't go alone. Don't go alone. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I agree.
No, I brought me a
agree
Cuban with me.
Right on.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we ain't talking cigars.
Oh,
Yeah.
Hey, we got Miss Andrew today in the chat. Welcome.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
Oh, good. I'd love for him to jump on, man. If you want to jump on, we're talking about weed and the legalization of weed. Yeah, that's good. DDJ. Just so you guys know, that's DDJ stands for Doomsday Jesus. Yeah. I love that.
It's a badass name.
Yeah,
I
it
gotta
is.
say.
It is. Yeah, there it is. How you doing, man? Good to see you. Good to see you. The link is pinned to the top of the chat, DDJ. Yeah, let me just say hi real quick to everybody in the chat. John Boston, Angels Don't Fall, Vivian, of course. Anybody else? Michael Foster, I'm not sure. We started talking about weed. I don't know if Michael Foster is still here.
Nope.
Dang, I wanted Michael Foster's 2 cents on weed legalization. It would have been interesting.
Let's ask Gene. What do you think about the legalization or the, to me, decriminalization and legalization, I think, are two different things. So give me your point on it, Gene.
I think you should be able to grow it and smoke it as much as you want. But people in America don't use it properly. They just like food. It's just like food. Americans don't use food properly. If that makes any sense. So kind of takes the fun out of it, for lack of better words. But yeah, I think people should be able to enjoy it.
This is great, man. This boy, Ken Long says, the furry freak. I do remember the Freak Brothers. Gonzo, do you remember? I think it's a comic book, if I'm correct. Freak Brothers comic books?
No.
Really?
Not at all.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I think the biggest issue is when you make something illegal is that you create a black market for that product and you drive the price up and you create a criminal system out of something that shouldn't be illegal. That's the biggest problem. You got, when you make a plant growing a plant illegal that pretty much a majority of the country likes, you're kind of asking to fill up the prison systems with a bunch of people that are guilty of growing a plant that makes you giggle and eat everything in the fridge. You know what I'm saying? That costs taxpayer money. Aside from that, you're creating a black market for this illicit substance that's now going to be fulfilled either way, whether it's legal or not, from Mexico, China, and all these outside countries. So you're actually strengthening your enemies while you destroy your own country.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah.
Well, let's welcome DDJ here.
Hey guys, what's going on?
Hey.
How's it going?
I'm doing good. I had a 2.5 hour stream with Anthony earlier today.
Yeah, I caught the tail end on it. It was really good. Yeah, it was good.
I mean, the goal was to really try to, dispel some misinformation about, the community that I belong to, and it really ended up working out. So, yeah. So what's the subject of the conversation tonight?
Well, the topic is really I knew this one was going to blow up a little because we were talking about weed, pot. Is it dumbing America? I think it should be. I think decriminalization, which means I think if you're caught with it or whatever, I don't think that you should go to jail per se or things like that. But I don't think it should be legal. And now, DDJ, you're a legal guy. Maybe decriminalization and legalization. I think those are two different things. What do you think?
Well, interestingly enough, the state that I lived the majority of my life was Washington State. Mm-hmm. And, when I was, young, 10,000 years ago, I smoked my fair share of weed. But that said, I'm not convinced, and allow me to kind of, this might be a little verbose, so I apologize in advance, but I'm not convinced that weed should be legal, but my reasons are a little bit different. So like, for example, the marijuana of today is 5 times more powerful than the most powerful weed 20 years ago. Yeah. And I'm not talking about shake, I'm talking about buds, right? So for anybody who knows about weed, we're discussing just the strength of the buds here, the THC in the buds. We're not discussing, the shake. So with that said, it's a lot more powerful. I know in Colorado, I've spoken with some law enforcement people there, and I was in Colorado for 2 years. And one of the officers said that the biggest problem that they have with the legalization of marijuana in Colorado is that what's happening is that the drug traffickers are now trafficking in heroin and meth, which is cheaper than the weed. And so what they're seeing is they're seeing an increase of meth overdoses, an increase of heroin overdoses, because these people come to Colorado, they move to Colorado to get their weed, and for whatever reason, they just can't afford it. So they turn to meth because they think it's a better high. And then, of course, they destroy their lives in the trade. Now, of course, that's not everybody. And, gummies are great. And, there's a lot of things that like the one guy said, you get kind of silly and giggle. But because the weed today is so much more powerful, I don't know if you guys watch Fox Nation at all, but Tucker Carlson did a long form interview with a guy who did did his homework on this. And he said that the marijuana of today has been linked to psychotic breaks. So not with everybody. And I don't even think it's a large portion of the population, but I definitely think that I guess I agree with Tony in that I don't necessarily think that it should be legal per se, but I don't think people should be doing 5 and 10-year prison sentences for it either. I think that, number one, I think the federal government needs to pull it off of I think it's considered like a Schedule 1 drug or whatever the more severe drug designation is. They need to pull it off of that. And they need to say, look, it should be treated something like and I don't want to belittle anybody here, but like minor in possession, right? So like if a kids get caught with alcohol, they don't throw the book at that kid. They realize, okay, this is kind of a minor thing, and they move on with their day. I think something like that should be the happy medium with the marijuana per se. And that said, I know lots of people who live in states where recreational marijuana is legal. They haven't had any negative things come, forth because of it. And they're just fine. But, again, that's just my own personal opinion.
Yeah. There's also the issue too with me is that people who get a prescription card, I think that I don't care who you are. I think that's the last thing you should do. I think you're setting yourself up for something in the future. I don't think it's going to be a good outcome. If you're going to smoke your weed and do your things, get it some other way, but don't get it where people know you're getting it.
I think that's a valid concern, but I would also say this is kind of devil's advocate here. If you're ex-military or you have PTSD or something like that, marijuana is one of the treatments. And it calms people down. It helps people out as far as, and I'm not sure if it's just the marijuana or the CBD oil or some combination of the two. But I would say that if you do have a medical card, you shouldn't be stigmatized for it. Because I agree. Because you're right. If people know about it, they're going to stigmatize.
No firearms with a medical card. I believe it was Hawaii was the first ones to start confiscating weapons from people with medical marijuana cards.
I'm not surprised about that, because while the states are making medical marijuana legal, the firearms approval has to go through the FBI. So every time you purchase a legal firearm now, you go through an FBI background check to make sure that everything's okay. So if they're like, oh, you have a medical marijuana card, you're a drug addict or whatever, and we're just going to turn it down. And they're probably getting a little bit more firm on this, given that they're trying to disarm the country anyway.
Yeah.
I think we're still allowed to sell private firearms in my state without a background check.
I think, you know what, Grim Chemist, I think that's most states. I know in Florida here, yeah, that's the case. You know,
yeah, private parties can sell without an issue in the state I'm in as well.
Yeah, and I think a lot of states are like that. I think to protect yourself too, you really do want just a bill of sale. You can print a firearms bill of sale online and print that out. At least you have a record. I don't think you have to get it notarized or anything, but at least you have a signature. But
yeah,
I think there's a big, anybody that has a concealed weapons permit or something like I have, I would never, ever have. First of all, I don't smoke weed anyways, but I would never have a medical marijuana card. And I've told a few people that I know in Florida that have concealed weapons permits that wanted to get a medical marijuana card. And I'm like, don't you think that's kind of a conflict of interest? I mean, eventually, I think that will catch up to you. And it's probably been a year and a half since I heard about the whole thing in Hawaii, where they were, if you had a medical marijuana card in Hawaii, they were either confiscating your weapons or you're not allowed to have a weapon. And I almost have to agree in a way, because I don't think all people react to marijuana the same way. And I don't think all people react to marijuana and weapons the same way. So.
Well, it's kind of hard to aim while you're giggling. Let's just be honest.
Yeah.
Right. And also too, like I have a CDL, and the CDL is considered a federal driver's license. And if the DOT, if I ever decide to go back to truck driving or whatever, because I've kept it as a part-time type of thing in case my paralegal gig ever fell out, I can tell you right now, DOT is going to take my license if there's marijuana in my system, because it's a federally regulated driver's license.
Yeah, it's Ken Long says, back in the day, I used to, what did he say? Back in the day, I was used to the smell of weed smoke, which was very good, but today the weed does not smell the same. Why is that? Yeah, and that's what I actually started out when we talked about this, is I've been smelling weed everywhere. I smell weed in my backyard, and I'm like, where is that coming from? It's because it smells, it's so strong, and it's got such a distinct smell. You can go into any convenience store in Florida, any convenience store I go to in Florida. When I walk in the door, okay, and say I'm standing in line to get a lotto ticket or whatever I'm getting there is 9 out of 10 times somebody's going to come in and stand next to me that absolutely reeks. I mean, you can smell them as soon as they walk in the door.
A lot of that, Tony, is attributed to the new way they're growing marijuana. They've developed new ways of developing like really rich and dense terpenes, which are what produce those flavors and aromas. So I mean, yes, that has gotten stronger, but it's not necessarily an indicator that like the marijuana is any stronger.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I mean, it is stronger. We definitely know that. I mean,
I hope they make stronger marijuana, because I've been smoking the same stuff for, I want to say 20 years. And it's really, personally, I think it's getting worse, or maybe my tolerance is just getting higher.
Well, you're just chasing the dragon at this point. I mean,
well, I don't actually ever try to get high.
Yeah.
I just smoke the same amount, all day throughout in intervals in order to keep myself at a certain level, but I don't actually get high from it ever. You know what I'm saying? I used to giggle when I used to smoke weed, but I don't ever actually experience a high that someone would call.
Do you think, let me ask you a question, Grim Chemist. Do you think that you should have you ever taken like a 2 or 3 week break?
I'll be completely honest. If I don't smoke weed, I might murder somebody.
Okay.
Like I'm just, I might snap. I have a lot of anger and I have to essentially suppress that anger with smoking, and that's what I've found works for me.
How old are you?
I'm in my 30s.
I dealt with my anger while I was fighting for custody of my kids with 45 minutes on a heavy bag every day.
I feel you, bro. Everybody has their own thing, you know.
True.
There were doctors that wanted to prescribe me with handfuls of, you know, poisonous, you know, neurotropic medicines, and honestly, the side effects and the effects of those medicines were horrible. And this is what works for me, you know. There's people out there that are on fucking Prozac, Zoloft, Xanax, this and that, and nobody will look down on that person, you know, because they have a mental illness. But I found something that works great for me. And
hey, Tony, I think Grim Chemist might actually be Paul Galvin.
No.
No, I'm just saying. I mean, not, yeah, whoa.
The name. The voice.
I'm just saying maybe. Just keep it up there. I'm not saying for sure, but maybe.
The voice.
Nah, bro. I have a channel, and you could check me out. I'm not whoever you think I am.
Okay, cool.
No.
Is your channel Grim Chemist?
Yeah.
Is your channel called Paul Gavin?
No, it's called Grim Chemist, dog. I do truth radios and shit like that.
Oh, cool. Why don't you drop it in the chat?
Yeah.
I can drop it in here. I don't have both of them open because it was lagging my thing before.
Okay.
I can do it. I think
I don't even know my link, bro. I don't really do YouTube like that. I'm just saying. I was just using that as an example to show you that I'm not that guy. But
yeah, no, that's cool. Yeah, Paul's a friend of ours, but your voice is very similar.
I was about to say the only test to see if it's a Paul Galvin is you just have to ask if he's Catholic. That's
Are you Catholic? Are you Catholic?
No, I'm not Catholic.
Okay.
How many times did you say the Hail Mary today?
I don't believe in the Hail Mary.
Okay.
Are we good?
Yeah, we're good.
All right. You want to drop my pants, bro? You know what I mean? I can show you, bro.
Because you're an avatar, I don't trust you on the. You know,
I hear you, bro.
Okay.
I'll hit the camera up in a minute, but I got kids running around the house and shit right now, and I don't want my kids on.
I don't care.
You feel me?
Yeah. Oh, don't.
Yeah. Gonzo just dropped your channel in the chat. So
thank you, Gonzo.
Grim Chemist. There it is.
I don't really know how much content's on there, bro. Everything gets banned. Apparently, YouTube don't like me. So
yeah, you've got a lot of 5 videos. Yeah.
I can say this as well, as far as kind of a segue a little bit. You know, for those people who want to make content and, you know, they feel like they want their freedom of speech as well. You know, BitChute and Odyssey are really good alternatives. I use both.
I started using them joints to put my banned stuff up there, and then I guess I leave whatever they don't ban on here.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah, so just so you know, Grim Chemist, are you familiar with MGTOW, men going their own way?
No, what's that?
It's, well, DDJ, give it a quick breakdown.
Basically, it's men who support masculine men, feminine women, and limited government. And in supporting feminine women, we basically avoid women who are not feminine. Or I should say, when I say avoid, I mean avoid them for cohabitation and for marriage purposes, but drive-through is just fine.
Well, I mean, if you do that, wouldn't the ultimate act of masculinity be to find a woman who's not feminine and make her be feminine under your masculine will?
You would think that, and some guys do that, but my personal perception is, after working in the legal field for 25 years, is that in a lot of cases the risk isn't worth the reward, because, you know, especially if you're not living in the United States. So
no, I'm just saying, when you say it like that, doesn't it sound a little crazy?
A little bit, but you know.
Don't get me wrong, bro. I am all for. I believe the man is the head of the house.
You trust me? I am not thin-skinned, and yeah, I am not. I could care less about criticism. I'm good. So yeah, I'm not Catholic or Christian, but I do believe in the Bible. And in the Bible, it says the man is the head, and the head of the man is Christ. So right.
The hierarchy is right there.
Man and woman, right? Exactly.
It's written in the book, bro.
So
God over man, man over man, man over women, women over children.
It was God over Christ, Christ over man, man over woman.
Yeah.
Right. So Michael Foster asks in the chat, DDJ, is MGTOW against all forms of marriage? So there are a lot of, and I kind of went into some of this in the conversation I had with Anthony earlier today, which, by the way, ended up being a 2.5-hour conversation. I re-uploaded it to my channel. Hashtag shill alert. But
I caught the end. I caught the end.
Yeah.
And actually it was really good because that's one of the things I'm going to do either later or tomorrow morning is listen to that stream. It was good.
I appreciate it.
And we're going to have DDJ on here, guys, just so you know, soon. And we're going to talk about MGTOW. I know we all did a video on our opinion of what MGTOW is. And I think DDJ will give us a more rational and a more educated version of what MGTOW is. I think MGTOW, along with Red Pill and all these other manosphere phrases, have been bastardized on people's versions.
I agree. No, I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. And to answer Michael's question, if you read the MGTOW manifesto, which is the form of kind of MGTOW I follow, which is on my website, hashtag shill alert, what you'll see is that the MGTOW manifesto does not forbid marriage. So that's something that a lot of people don't realize. It's just that they say you shouldn't marry a woman who isn't honest or isn't feminine, doesn't have a sense of self-responsibility or accountability. Those are the main pushes there. But what a lot of guys have gone and they said, look, because of feminism, because of divorce rate culture, because of all these different things, false allegation epidemics, what ends up happening is that these guys are like, look, I don't want to be falsely accused of this, that, or the other. And so, other than drive through, I'm not going to be with a woman at all. Now, there are guys who they decide they want to be monks. Great, more power to them. And then there are other guys that, unfortunately, they're not psychologically stable, and they're like, well, you shouldn't interact with society at all. Okay, well, great. Let me see if I can go ahead and have the people in the little, ambulance come pick you up and give you a place to stay for a while. So
let me welcome Michael Foster. Michael Foster, how you doing? Good to see you.
What's up, fellas?
Hey, evening.
Hey, Grim Chemist, just so you know, Michael Foster is a family man. He is a pastor. You still with us, Grim Chemist?
Yeah, I'm here, brother.
Okay, yeah, he's Michael Foster is a pastor. He has 7 children. Been married to his basically high school sweetheart.
I respect that.
Yeah, and a family man. So
I'm a family man too. I got 3 of my own little demons running around.
Good for you. Good for you.
Vipers and diapers, huh? Nice.
Why you think I smoke so much ganja?
No, I've got 4 kids, 2 ex-wives, 2 grandchildren. I won custody of all 4 kids in the 2 divorces.
Wow,
bro, you the real MVP.
I'm one of them. One of
I only got 1 ex-wife.
I'm just a nobody behind a keyboard. So
I feel you.
Yeah.
So Michael Foster, what's your did you hear any of the stream today with Anthony and DDJ?
I have not had a chance to listen to it. No.
Okay.
No,
Yeah,
I saw it popped up. It popped up on my phone, but we bought this farm, so Saturdays are getting the farm in shape days. So that's what I've been throwing mulch everywhere and stuff like that.
Nice. Yeah. So I don't, from what I understand, I think DDJ and I think, and I don't want to misquote him or anything like that, but I think what he's saying is about marriage. I think a lot of it has to do with vetting properly and picking the right woman.
Agreed.
I think that's what it comes down to. I think that all men like myself, when you don't have a woman in your life, to me, I'm like, for the past 3 years, I'm like, yeah, from what I heard about MGTOW, I've been hardcore MGTOW.
Well, there's a lot of guys that are, and that's the thing is that, look, I'm not an evangelist, and I'm not a when it comes to MGTOW, and I'm not a missionary. My goal is not to convert people. My goal in creating my channel, my website, and my content is to just inform people about dangers and to say, look, once you have the information, do what you want. If you want to get married and you find somebody that you trust and you click with and you want to get married, great, go for it. You want to have a relationship with some chick? Great, go for it. You want to do drive-through? Great, go for it. But, just know that there's a trade-off in every one of these things. And I would say too that, the reality is from a societal standpoint, and I say this in my book, The Feminist Lie, is that the safest place for a man and a woman and the safest place for children is living in the household where the man and the woman are husband and wife, and they share the biological children together. That is the safest place for a man, for a woman, and for children. And it just so happens the Bible says the same thing.
Yeah.
I agree with your principles.
Can I ask some questions?
Oh yeah, go for it.
All right, so DDJ, I'm not familiar with your material, so my questions are real questions. They're not accusations or anything like that.
Don't worry about it. I'm not fencing.
Yeah. So some of the MGTOW guys I've dealt with, I see some pretty deep fallacies and illogical ideas. So my problem with MGTOW, as I understand it, which that's a pretty important qualifier there. Okay, I'm willing to adjust my judgment at a moment. Is that it seems to me that a lot of MGTOW guys think they kind of buy into the whole feminine imperative idea. Women have taken control of things, and so I believe that patriarchy is inevitable. It's natural. It's part of everything. There's no way you can get around it. And so I think that actually the way women took control of our country, it was not really women. It was men that were trying to subjugate certain other men and bring women into power because they're more compliant and easier to control, right? And that the way forward is to get men to be patriarchs again. And the only way we're going to be able to adjust family court law and all that stuff is through people with power and influence. It's a multi-generational thing, and so it requires us to build families like I'm attempting to do to the best of my ability. I'm trying to raise my kids up red pilled, if you want to put it that way, but just Christians, like legit old school Christians. So
yeah, and let's be honest here. The Bible is full of red pills. So
by modern standards, absolutely. Right.
Yeah.
We wouldn't call it that, but by modern standards, absolutely. The way we look at the way I look at women, the way I look at men is very different than modernity, the last 100 years, whatever. So I guess my question for you is, what role do you see fatherhood and the family playing in societal change?
All right. So there's a little bit to unpack there, because I think that in order to explain my answer, I need to kind of step back in order to step forward, if that makes sense. So the one of the ways that the MGTOW community, the MGTOW philosophy looks at, they take it from a backward standpoint. So I don't know if you've ever owned a business before.
I have.
Okay. So when you own a business, you do your books, you run an audit, you reconcile your cash flow, you make sure, and again, the busier your business, the more often you do the reconciliation, the more often you do your internal audits. The problem that you have is that since second wave feminism specifically, and I'm limiting my answer specifically to second wave feminism because that's when society changed. The role I see for men and fathers is that of mentors. And the biggest mistake that conservatives made, the biggest mistake that feminine women made, the biggest mistake that men in general made when second wave feminism happened was they allowed feminists to frame the argument. And the way feminists framed the argument was extremely deceptive. They said, okay, women can be free and believe in themselves on one hand, or on the other hand, there's the nuclear family. And when you speak to people about these feminist issues, you have that dichotomy. It's a nuclear family or feminism, right? The problem is it's a false dichotomy. And what I mean by that is that what we end up having is it's not the nuclear family that is the strength of our society. And it's not even our biblical strength. It's the extended family. It's not just mom and dad, because mom and dad can't do it always by themselves. Sometimes they need grandpa's help or grandma's help or aunts and uncles or cousins.
To your point, DDJ, I would say that
ahead.
this is what a lot of conservatives don't realize is that the nuclear family is a liberal conception.
Yes.
And this is because they don't know their history and they don't understand the thing that nuclear families are not part of history until 100 years ago, right? Extended family is, and that's huge because your ability to manage, like for me, to manage 7 kids, it would be much easier if I had lots of grandparents and aunts and uncles or whatever. That's how things were passed down. And once you, like, this is why most modern conservatives are useless. Folks, they don't even know what they're talking about. I hear them try to defend the nuclear family. If you're defending the nuclear family, you're already behind the 8 ball and you've already swallowed the hook, the feministic hook, which is trying to break society down to smaller and smaller fractals.
I would agree with you. Yeah, we're on the same page there.
Yeah.
All right, so I don't need to worry about. So I'm just kind of explaining it to the audience and anybody else that didn't have that comprehension. So with that said, I think the best way for men to help other men is through mentorship. I think it's father-son mentorship. I think it's church leader mentorship. I think it's community mentorship. I think it's extended family mentorship, because men have to start mentoring men again. And some of that mentorship may take the form of, hey, you stepped off the reservation, maybe you need to jump back on. Or, hey, you're doing something that normally is healthy, but because you're obsessing over what it is you're doing, or you're not doing it in moderation, you're out of balance. And so those types of things I think are extremely important, because what's happened is that society has created this culture where not only is it acceptable to shame men and to discriminate against them, it's considered a secular moral imperative. Now, the reason I bring up Christianity, number one, is because I'm Christian, but also because secular movements don't survive. They never have. They might have an ebb and a flow for a while, but they always implode. The communities that survive in the long term, and I'm talking about multi-generationally, the ones that survive for 100 years or 200 years or whatever it is, those are communities built on religion. The United States government is currently, in our modern history, is the longest surviving government in the history of the modern world. And the reason it's the longest surviving government is because it was built and formed on Christian morality and Christian principles. That's why, you hear this idea that they say, look, the Constitution only works when you have a moral society. It's not meant to defend against an amoral society. In fact, you can't use it. It doesn't work then. And so when you look at it from that lens, now you can understand this is why everybody is doing this. This is why you see the degeneracy. This is why you see the vice and the gluttony and everything else there. It's because they're trying to destroy the moral fabric of society. And, again, the basic element of a society is the family. Once you have the family, you have a community. And once you have a community, now you have a society. And in my book, in chapter 3, so I wrote a book called The Feminist Lie. It was published in 2017. It became an Amazon bestseller. It's rated like 4.5 out of 5 stars. It's got almost 400 reviews. I wrote that book so that the everyman can pick it up, whether you have a high school diploma or you have a PhD. You can read it and understand it. And in chapter 3 of that book, I talk about the differences in family structure and the outcomes. When mom and dad are married and they have biological children that they share, their children turn out better. Their life outcomes are better, not just for the children, but for mom and for dad. And you see, feminists don't want to talk about that because they're trying to destroy the family. They're trying to destroy marriage. And so they don't want you to know that, hey, the man you fell in love with is going to be the safest man you ever can be with in your entire life.
But DDJ, what are you guys exactly teaching us that we can't already see in the Word of God?
I think that what so as far as the MGTOW philosophy is concerned, the challenge is being able to talk about subjects that polite society doesn't want to talk about. So that's, a lot of church groups aren't going to tell you, hey,
well, that's why I don't believe in church groups. I believe church groups are wrong for making a church group.
And that's your viewpoint. All I'm saying is that church groups, to my mind, are extremely useful if you can find a church group that is supportive of you.
I mean, if you could find the word church in the Bible, I'll go to a church.
The word church is in the Bible.
Where at?
The Church of Corinth, the Church of Galatia, the Church of Ephesians. I can list it out to you for like 50 times.
Are you
preaching to be pastor with a head covering?
I would just say that I'm an expert. It's the word ecclesia. It means call it out assembly.
Are you an expert in preaching with a head covering on? Corinthians 1:11.
Women wear head coverings, not men. In Corinthians 1:11. If you read it, you would know that.
Men are not supposed to wear head coverings.
All right, now we're trolling. My point is, let's get back to
You're preaching with a head covering, pastor.
Stay in the shallow end of the pool, my friend.
Right.
Hey,
So I guess
if I
what
start
I'm
dumping you,
is,
it's going to get rough.
Yeah.
Dug me down the hall. I want to learn. Teach me.
So what I'm saying is that while church informs the mind, with the legal knowledge, you can avoid some of the traps that the church may not be able to prepare you for. So, for example, false allegations of physical sexual assault, or how to avoid certain types of women in a practical and a real sense. And a lot of these things, and in addition to that, how to make your life better for you. Because a lot of people are like, oh, well, how do I find a wife, or how do I find this, and how do I find that? And the reality is this: if you go to the gym occasionally, you've got a job, you're financially secure, you're financially self-sufficient, and you have a brain on your shoulders, and you have a little bit of social skills, women will find you. And that is true for pretty much every guy out there, unless you look like Quasimodo.
Can I ask, because what you're saying is good stuff to me. So my interaction with MGTOW here and there, and this is like Twitter people that kind of come mad, right? So I don't know how representative of the movement they are. I don't want to it's not always fair, but yeah, I thought MGTOW in general was against marriage. Is that, or at least against legal marriage?
No.
Okay.
Let's take a step back. So a lot of MGTOW men, myself included, we avoid marriage because modern women and feminist laws discriminate against men. And the easiest way to avoid divorce is to avoid marriage. Now, I have children. I raise my children by myself. I've been married twice. So I kind of been there, done that, right? If at some point, I walk away from the MGTOW philosophy and I get married again, that person will be extremely well vetted. But that said, if you look at the MGTOW manifesto and you look at the original writings of the people who actually coined the term MGTOW, there is nothing there that talks about avoiding marriage. It's about avoiding women who are dishonest. It's about avoiding women who don't have any sense of personal accountability or personal responsibility. It's about avoiding the women that are talked about in Proverbs chapter 7.
Yeah, that's good.
DDJ,
do you guys have laws and a leader?
No.
You don't have
philosophies don't have laws. They don't have leaders.
So
they
what
just
is
have
it?
voices.
If it's just an idea, like Buddhism?
Buddhism's a religion.
Well, I mean, it could be a philosophy. You know what I'm saying?
There's
a philosophy.
Yeah, but it's not an ideology, so it's not a political movement. Now, MGTOW do support limited government because really, feminism, communism, socialism can't survive without a welfare state.
I just don't understand how you could have something that supports something, but it not be an organization. If it's not organized, how can it support things as a whole?
It's like an ideology is basically what it is. It's a philosophy.
Yeah.
Hey guys,
guys, there's no organization. Hey, what's going on, man?
let me just say something about MGTOW. I MGTOW for religious reasons.
I like that.
Yeah, I MGTOW because I don't know about the Protestants. I mean, they've gone off the reservation for a long time, so I don't know what the hell I don't know what the fuck they're doing.
You want to talk about Second Vatican, man?
Hey,
oh shit! Here we go.
I want to talk about pre-Vatican too. Whatever. I don't give a shit about that. You know what? I don't give a shit about that, dude. You know what? But I'm MGTOW because of religion. I can't get once I get divorced, and I'm in the process of getting divorced. I can't get remarried until my wife dies, and I can't do religiously. I can't do anything. I mean, I'm done. It's over. That part of my life is over.
Are you able to get with an annulment though in the Roman?
I can't. I'm not going to be annulled. No,
okay.
I mean,
if you got an annulment, it's like it's been erased, and you could.
If I could, but honestly, that wouldn't be an honest thing for me to do.
So
I'm not gonna do
DDJ,
that.
you consider yourself a Christian. How do you feel about Colossians 2:8?
I don't know. I don't know what the verse is. Why don't you educate me?
It speaks about something about like you spoil men through philosophy and vain deceit.
I think that Christianity has a lot of philosophical messages in it, and I think that maybe you're taking the statement out of context.
So in Colossians 2:8, what's going on? The Church of Colossae has a weird mix of So as proto-Gnostics were in Colossae, and it was mixing with Jewish mysticism. And so what they're saying is that they're elevating a worldly idea, in particular, a Greek Gnosticism, which denies the validity and good of matter. Hang on. And mixing it with the worship of angels. And that's exact. And they tell you what you can and can't eat. So it's an aesthetic view of life, which goes against the view of the life that has a high view of matter. That's what's going on.
What about 1 Corinthians 2:13?
Say it out loud.
It's like which things also we speak not in the words which man's wisdom teacheth, but which the Holy Ghost teacheth, comparing spiritual things with spiritual.
That's good. So in 1 Corinthians, Corinth was a very important Greek town. In Corinth, they actually had a temple that worshipped the false goddess. What's going on there is that the Greeks would raise the idea of wisdom up really high. It was a worldly form of wisdom. And they would actually see, and if you go back to the beginning of 1 Corinthians there, they talk about how the crucifixion of Jesus is foolishness to the Greek and is a stumbling block to the Jew, right? So it's not saying that philosophy, the love of wisdom, which you have an entire book, the book of Proverbs, and a whole series, a genre in the Old Testament of wisdom literature, including Ecclesiastes, Job, etc., that raises up the importance of wisdom. It's talking about a worldly wisdom that denies the kingship of Christ, right? And so we want to reject that. We want to accept the wisdom that only comes from God. And so what you have there is wordplay is going on. Good verses though.
So it's wordplay on the verses. Is that what you're saying? The words are no good because I use them in the
No. Word plays are very good. They're very useful to have a lot of ideas. For example, Jesus says whoever would lose their life would save it, right?
Yeah, I mean, we can't
That's
quote
wordplay.
Anything from the Bible and it apply like
that would be a
1-for-1.
relativistic position. No,
it would have to be a law. You know what I mean?
No, I think there's a 1-for-1 positions at all. For example, when Paul says, when he talks about how you shouldn't muzzle the ox, and the point of not muzzling the ox is that a laborer is worthy of his wages because God doesn't care about ox. So there's times where you want to interpret it according to its genre. So if it's didactic and a straight up didactic, prescriptive portion of scripture, by all means, you should use that. A great example of that would be Ephesians, right? Would be a good example, or the second half of Galatians, or the majority of Romans, which is a systematic theology laying out Paul's thing, right? But
yeah, if we get into interpretation, I could just say, yeah, sure, that interpretation is your interpretation. I have mine.
No, you can't do that because even as I talk now, you understand the word I'm saying. So there are like black and white principles of hermeneutics that you would use to interpret anything.
I mean, you're saying like black and white principles of hermeneutics.
That's right.
That like laymen and normal people don't study words like that, right? So you're not actually trying to explain a point to me.
Hermeneutics is a science. Hermeneutics is a science.
I don't even know. I don't even understand what you're saying. You know,
hermeneutics is a science of interpretation. Now you understand.
Is that in the scripture anywhere?
So I have to find a word in the scripture for it to be biblical, or do I have to find a concept?
I'm just saying we're here debating a biblical scripture, right? And then we're
I don't
taking
think
it
so. You're trying to show up, man.
into
I'm gonna pull you in.
hermeneutics. I'm not showing up. What I'm trying to say
no, you're
is
not
that,
showing up. It's not
listen,
going well so far. It's getting rough.
I feel like you're a pastor, but you're trying to sit here and advocate for people following the word of man over what I'm trying to advocate.
What word of man am I trying to advocate for?
This man's philosophy, and whether or not DDJ says he has a philosophy that's perpetrated by MGTOW. Look, I don't even care what the organization's called. Don't matter to me. What I know is it's not the word of the high, the almost high God. You understand? It's the word of man.
I don't think we're at odds there. I think Grim Kenneth, me, you, and DDJ. I think we're playing for the same team. If I understand rightly,
yeah, but
is that we think that Scripture is the highest authority?
Yeah,
it's not the only authority.
Why do we need a philosophy created by man to tell us how to live life when we've already been told how to live life?
So let me back up then. Let me back up. You and I are on the same page there. Okay, so we're not at odds at all.
Right. So why are you debating me?
But here's the thing: why I'm debating you is because
are you just debating me for the sake of being right about the scripture?
No, you're pushing hard, man.
Right about the scripture, right? Christians don't even know God's name. That's the issue.
What, Yahweh? Is that what you're gonna say?
What I'm going to say is that you worship a false image of the beast system.
What do I worship? Tell me.
Do you worship Jesus Christ?
No. Tell me. You just said what I worship. Tell me what I worship.
Have you accepted Jesus Christ as his name? Or did you accept his name as Yeshua? What do you worship?
Well, Jesus is a Greek
translation.
Yes, it absolutely is.
Okay, do you know what that translation means? Jesus, what it comes from the word lesus, which means the pig. Because it was that which seems unclean. This is
the problem with people learning their stuff from not books, but from online stuff.
From not books, man.
It
you need
is,
to learn the name. His name was Yeshua. Why would you translate a name and worship that name? Does that not mean it's a false image? My name is Michael, right? If someone called me Miguel, right? That's not my name, bro. You can't worship Miguel. You got to worship Michael. And what I'm saying is you can't worship Jesus. You can't worship anything other than Yeshua HaMashiach, because he's the savior. You understand? Jesus is not the savior. That's
painful to hear you even pronounce it wrong. But anyway, all right. So where do we want to go from this?
I mean, I might have an accent, but what I say is true, Pastor. I don't speak false lies.
How is Jesus not the savior?
Jesus is not his name. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
This is like a black Hebrew Israelite thing.
No, this is like
these guys don't
reality.
even understand. They don't even understand. They're going to say it's reality. No one made a big deal about this until
there
a
are
couple
over
years
450 verses in the King James Bible that refers to the importance of knowing the name. It is specific.
What's the set of texts?
You are a pastor.
What's the set of texts?
You should know half of them by heart.
What's the set of texts that the King? Well, why are you lecturing me, man?
The King James Bible was written from the Tanakh, and it was written from the Textus Recepticus in Greek and the Torah. The Greek, there's Hebrew and Greek text. I have both of them. I read the Hebrew text in Hebrew, and I do it word for word. I look at the numerology of it because that's very important also.
So I took 2 years of Hebrew. You read Hebrew?
I read the letters. I can read them.
What do you mean?
What I mean is I can't sit here and talk Hebrew to you, but I can read God's name and tell you that's the
name. Dude, you don't read Hebrew. Just say it now. You don't read. I can put it on. I can put it on the screen right now.
I don't read Hebrew. What I'm telling you is when I read the book, right? If I want to get the real translation,
do you remember 5 seconds
I
ago
translate the words. What I'm saying,
that?
I'm trying to explain it to you. You won't let me elaborate.
Go ahead. I'll listen.
I'm correcting myself.
All right,
I don't read Hebrew. I do translate the Hebrew letter for letter in order to get the true message when I want to really look deep into something. And the reason why I do that is for the gematria, which is the math behind the Hebrew. You read Hebrew, you know that there's math behind the Hebrew when they created the language.
I took 2 years of Hebrew. It was very painful, right? And here's the thing: with 2 years, I've taken 2 years of Hebrew, 2 years of Mandarin Chinese, 2 years of French, 2 years of 2 years of Greek, right? You know, I had to take all these languages. 2 years of Hebrew is enough to make you troublesome. If you think you're going to translate the tetragrams,
what I'm saying is,
and get like truth, like you don't even understand the grammar and syntax. It's very complicated.
What I'm saying is,
right?
if you do understand Hebrew and you understand the importance and where the Hebrew comes from, the vibrational frequencies that they put on the sand plates and they got their symbols. When you understand that the name of God actually has a vibrational pattern that changes your physical DNA when you call upon him. When you realize these things, since you studied the Hebrew and you are a pastor who studies
Hey, babe,
the
I'm going
book,
to need more wine for this. Can I get
you
some
get what
more
I'm
wine?
saying?
I hear what you're saying.
I'll roll up a
I
joint.
think-
We'll go to the mat, pastor, because I'm a man of God. You understand?
Oh, Graham
Yes!
Chemist. I mean, like,
This is what I come here for.
but I mean, seriously, like, how many times you got to
Pastor,
correct
I
yourself?
love you, and out of my love for you as a human being, I will sit here and we will go. Because at the end of the day, one of us is going to be a better man and learn something about our Creator, no matter what, even if I lose this debate.
Well, I like that attitude. I can get behind that. Here's my whole thing to dial it back. So, first off, Paul quotes both the Epicureans and the Stoics. He does that in Acts chapter 17, right? Paul's very clearly versed in the classics. We know this because the household codes that we see both in Ephesians and Colossae represent Xenophon's household dynamics, right? You familiar with Xenophon? You read him too, or no? Is that okay? Anyway, but so the problem isn't worldly philosophies per se, like where we can evaluate them. So take someone like Extreme Ownership, Jocko Willings. Jocko's book is not a Christian book at all. I don't know that he's a Christian or not. I'm not sure, but there's a lot of principles in there. I can say, hey, that lines up a lot with scripture. He says it really well. I find that helpful. Or look at someone like Jordan Peterson. When I read his book, I was like, this guy's not a Christian. He's using Jungian archetypes and kind of like he's borrowing from Christian worldviews. Like one chapter, he's talking about Jesus like he's real. The next chapter, Jesus is just some sort of archetype, right? And not a real person. It really irritated me about his books. Nonetheless, there were things in there that I found useful. And as a Christian, I can come and I can filter it out through scripture, right? And so take a guy like DDJ here, right? And he's a guy that is speaking to men that are caught up in a system where men are hated, where the law doesn't matter if the father's the better parent, will side often with the mother, who may have some significant problems, right? And out of that, he's trying to create a worldview that is to meet, not even a worldview, create a system that's to meet the situation he finds in. That's what we Christians have to do. So, for example, take Romans 13. Romans 13 says we're to obey all ruling authorities. So when you're dealing with the monarchy, the ruling authority is attached to the person, right? The king. When you're dealing with a democratic republic, the ruling authority is attached to the document by which representatives are elected. So I don't submit to president as a king. I submit to the Constitution as a ruling document because that's the nature of a democratic republic. So what we do is we take the whole of scripture and we apply it to our situation. So guys like us can listen to DDJ as he's trying to help men, and as he said himself, is Christian and trying to apply his Christian worldview to the situation that he and others find themselves in. That's why I don't think we want to get like.
But we already find that, Pastor, in the Ten Commandments. It's the first, what is it? First.
So the Decalogue is in Exodus chapter 20. So chapter 20, the first tablet 1 through 4.
Isn't that for man?
It's for God, and then the second tablet's just for men, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, even there, you have to apply it. And you see that Jesus Christ applies it in the Sermon on the Mount. And Jesus shows us that it's not, when we commit adultery, it's not just a physical act of adultery, but it's actually lusting towards a woman in our heart. And we commit murder, not just when we kill a person, but when we actually hate someone in our heart. So you can see that sometimes beyond the rigid, literalistic, atomistic sort of way people would interpret things, that there's actually a deeper view, right? And Jesus shows us that in the New Testament. I think it's okay for us Christians to take biblical principles and apply it to the situation we find ourselves. I think it's actually wise, and I think it's smart to consider it. Now, I think your inclinations aren't bad. Your inclinations are that there are worldviews out there that would pollute and mislead us, and you want to be content with the word of God. I don't think that's bad.
The way I feel, Pastor, is that we are all men created equally, and we are imperfect by nature, by design. And so if we are men and a man created this organization, and this organization basically mirrors the principles that we already have in the word, in the 10 commandments and the law, what is the purpose of this man's manifesto?
I think that's a valid question.
I think I can answer that.
I think DJJ would be a better answer for that. I'm not MGTOW.
There's a
I'm
lot of
pastor.
guys. There's a lot of guys out there who identify as Christian who don't go to church. They don't know the Bible. They don't know, anything. And there's just as many guys out there who are either agnostic or they're atheist. And so you meet the people where they're at and you provide them the information you can in hopes that they will use it to, avoid.
I'm sorry, DDJ, but going to church is not a requirement to be a Christian or a man of God. The body is the temple, and that's in the scripture.
Of course, but what I'm telling you is that
do not collect your gathering yourself together in the book of Hebrews. Go on, I want to hear you.
Yeah, but the point I'm trying to make is that and I think the point was made earlier, is that we're all imperfect and we're all ignorant of certain things, right? None of us know everything.
I mean, it's like if you follow the book, though, right, your life will be great. I can tell you that.
Again, you're singing to the choir here.
And you won't have issues that we have in the society. You won't, like you're saying about the marriage and the women, you don't have that if you follow the book and your wife is also in line following the book. You don't have these issues.
I agree.
I mean, if the issues don't exist when you follow the book, you don't need the manifesto because the problems don't exist in the first place, is what I'm trying to explain. God created it perfect.
I think theoretically, you are absolutely on point. However, where your theory meets the real world, that's a different animal entirely.
The real world meets when a man's perception perceives the real world.
I'm not talking about individually, okay? I mean, the problem that most people have, and this is where many people disagree with the MGTOW philosophy, and they have every right to, right? Is that a lot of people talk about the MGTOW philosophy from a position of personal responsibility, but they don't talk about they talk about their opposition to the MGTOW philosophy from a position of personal responsibility. But what they don't want to talk about is how it impacts the laws, the things that you're required to follow, that I'm required to follow each and every day. And if we are in certain situations, and let's say our spouse chooses not to follow the word of God and not to live by the biblical teachings, well, guess what? Now you're in a situation that you have to be able to navigate through. And the reality is that part of that navigation may include court hearings. It may include property settlement. It may include, a parenting plan and child support and all these different things. And men should be informed, or at least provided the opportunity to know what the consequences.
But that's assuming that you serve a second master, DDJ. Like you're saying, go to court, right, over like things. But if you and your wife, right, don't get actually married in the court, right, and you get married only in the eyes of God, right, is your marriage not valid in the eyes of God? It is.
I think
that's irrefutable. I think that's irrefutable. But again, let's say you don't get married by law. There's still such a thing in
common law.
There's common law, sure.
Right. But let's take a step back.
You are a man of God and you don't hold material possessions in your heart. I give all I put everything in my wife's name. We're not married. I don't care about it.
You need to allow me to actually finish my thought, please.
I understand.
The point is that when there are 10 states in the United States that actually have common law marriage, and there's another probably 10 or 15 states that, while they don't necessarily have common law marriage as such, they have what's referred to as meretricious relationships. Okay. And so what ends up happening is that you're still bound under the law for those things. And if you, and even if you're not married, there are laws in place that can interfere with your ability to parent your child if you let's say you have a woman you've married in the church, but you've not formally married her, and you're in a non-common law state. There are laws on the books in each and every one of those states that say we're going to separate your parenting responsibility and your parenting rights. And guess what? The law will come in and they will take custody of your children from you, whether or not you are married.
Well,
they will legally obligate
that's an
you to pay
assumption.
child support. So this is something that's been going on for 50 years.
What I'm trying to say, DDJ, is that if you are truly a man of God and you truly follow the word, then you understand that if your material possessions are taken away from you, right, it's not an issue. The biggest issue is that men are waking up in this country every day and they say, how can I build my empire today? How am I going to expand my empire? When men have to wake up in this country and say, how am I going to expand the kingdom of Yeshua on earth? That's the problem.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of men that aren't actually, unfortunately, asking that question. And again, this goes back to my statement. You have to meet the men where they are.
If someone asks that question, how are they going to bring the kingdom of God, of Elohim, the kingdom of God to bear?
You hop on a stream with guys teaching philosophy, and you tell them about the word of God. That's how you do that.
Or you hop on a stream and make a bunch of claims, and someone walks you down right away, and then you edit your claims real quick because you don't know what you're talking about.
What claim did I edit?
You're like, I can read Hebrew, and then I'm like, I actually had to take 2 years. You're like, well, I'm correcting myself. You know what I mean?
What I was saying was I read.
And you're like, there's churches in the word church is in the Bible. It's in there 112 times. It's ecclesia. It's a well-known word. That's Christianity 101. That's Bible 101. You know what I mean? Like, but if you're gonna.
I understand, but listen, that's not what I was saying, and I understand you may believe in your heart. I understand.
It's good for you to pivot away from that.
There's no pivoting. Listen,
I think we need to turn this stream into a drinking game.
But here's what I'll say.
We did that 2 Saturday nights ago with Anthony Velasquez. Anytime somebody said the word vegan, you had to drink. So
here, I'll give you 2 problems. I'll give you 2 problems that we have to face right now. So 2 of the big problems of egalitarianism is, one, it does break everyone down to an individual, away from organizations and away from hierarchy, right? So those that are against organized religion are egalitarian by nature. They want everything to be flat. God made the world with ranks, with superiors, inferiors, and equals, right? And that's part of what's going on now is as we break down the hierarchy of society, it's leading to chaos. We need order, and men understand that. And so when I hear a lot of these young people right now who are just really naive when it comes to what, one, the Bible teaches, and 2, even what ancient pagan societies right now are more sober-minded than what we see in America. Right? America is an absolute wreck. It's like the worst of all philosophies coming together. We'll catch up to Europe's bad. We'll catch up to Europe in time. But one of the major problems is that we don't have any respect for authority at all, and everyone's authority to themselves, and they're all it's individualism, and egalitarianism and individualism run co-current. They're very similar ideologies, and I think part of what we have to do to build society is, as man goes, so the household goes, and as the household goes, so goes society. If we're going to recapture our society, we have to start, one, by building men up, giving them confidence, giving them the skills they need, skills that we find in Scripture, skills and knowledge that we find in Scripture, and helping them build awesome households, strong households with godly women. And then through that, we can actually bring change in society. If we're not going to recapture, and this has been my problem with some aspects of MGTOW, which I'm happy to find are outliers, or certainly not the whole group, is that I don't see how in the world we can turn the tide without marriage and rebuilding families. I just don't see how we can do it, because I think this is a multi-generational project that we're involved in here. And that's why we have to understand egalitarianism is atomistic and reduces everything down to the individual, away from any sort of like creational design, like whether we're male or female. And so anyway, it's very good. for me to hear DDJ what you're saying, it's encouraging to me.
Well, I think that the other side of that is too, is that, I agree with you, without strong families, you don't have strong societies. And I think the traditional MGTOW approach, the problem that you have with that is that not a lot of people who identify as being part of the MGTOW community actually follow the original philosophy of the MGTOW.
Hey, it's the same with the word of God, bro. You see that right here.
Yeah. And so, for example, like I talk to people all the time, probably for the last 4 or 5 years, maybe 6 years. You get all these people and they're not mentally stable. What they lack in knowledge, they make up for in aggression, right? And they sit here and they start spouting off, and anybody who disagrees with them, rather than having a civil discussion like what we're having here, they just attack them. And they're like, oh, well, I don't understand what it is you're saying, but I think I know what you're saying, so I'm going to prejudge you. And the particular voice I listen to on the internet tells me this, so this is what I'm going to think. And you have a lot of people that are out there like that. And what I'm saying is this, is that the philosophy is there. Maybe it's worded in a way that doesn't get necessarily to people who go to church every Sunday, right? And so maybe it resonates with some of those people, and then maybe it doesn't. Maybe it resonates with people who don't go to church, and then they end up finding the church, and they're like, okay, I don't necessarily need to look at this MGTOW philosophy anymore. I use it as a stepping stone to get back to the Bible, and that's fine too.
DDJ, I'm glad you said that, because I always think that, like Red Pill, MGTOW, and all these different corners of the manosphere and all these different groups, what happens is men lose their own personal identity. They take on the identity of their, we'll call it their cult leader or their ideology. They take on that identity. Correct. They lose their identity and their ability to discern anything for themselves. In other words, when they drop into these corners, they're stuck there.
Well, and I agree with that wholeheartedly. And I think, to kind of dovetail off that point, if we still had multi-generational mentorship, if we still had strong Christian families, and if we had repealed, like feminist laws, or if we didn't allow feminism to take over society, at least Western society, the manosphere wouldn't exist. It just wouldn't exist. And the reason it wouldn't exist is because fathers would be teaching their sons, uncles would be teaching their relatives, grandparents would be teaching everybody else. And so you would see, all this knowledge that we talk about, it's not rocket science. It used to be common knowledge across Western society.
That's what I told Rolo last time I talked to Rolo. I was like, everything you read about in your book, you would find in a 1920s bar. You know what I mean? What I like about the manosphere, the best part of the manosphere is conversations like this. Take like Grim Chemist and me. We're going back here a little bit, but that's fine. Men can argue, and that makes us better. And we don't, in the end, like disrespect each other more for it. We end up like it builds relationship, right?
I love this guy, bro.
Yeah, and I think it ends like in the end, it's better. The problem, and this is a huge problem in Christianity, and this is why I've taken such an interest in the manosphere, right? Is that the problem with Christianity right now that I'm dealing with is celebrity. Right. Where everyone thinks everyone's amazing. Like someone, I posted something on Facebook and someone's like, oh, do you ever get mad at your kids? And I'm like, who the hell do you think I am? Of course I get mad at my kids, right? Like all the time. Like they can be little punks, to be quite honest. I love my kids, but I'm not a perfect dad. And just the fact that they would think I never get mad, that shows you that a lot of people, when they interact with folks online, they actually buy it. They actually buy the image that these guys are projecting of like they're awesome. You know what I mean?
Well, one of the issues is that a lot of it's pride. Now we can go back and forth here. I'm actually enjoying this. I'm sitting here and I'm listening to this. This is really, really good. I like it because I think it's an intelligent conversation. I think, Grim Chemist, he's got his thought process that he's using to interact with Michael right now. And Michael is,
honestly, I like to play devil's advocate sometimes.
And I see that, and that's good. That's good.
And I try to be respectful. You know what I'm saying?
And I really do appreciate
it's
that.
all cool, man. We're cool. It's fine. It's
But
fine.
I think with a lot of men, when it comes to, like I say, well, like with ideologies and certain corners that they get into, is that they don't want their pride hurt. They don't want to say, you know what, this wasn't right. This is not me. Okay. And I think, you know, it goes back to people feel things, you know, I think as men and women, we know what's right or wrong, but we refuse to accept it, is what the issue is.
Right. And as men, we can't be snowflakes about it and not be able to have arguments because then you never get to the truth.
One thing that men don't ever want to do, and this is real hard for men to do, is to accept that they're wrong. That's really hard for a man to deal with.
I think another problem is men won't fight. Men won't fight.
Well,
like in the manosphere, you're not allowed to fight.
Yeah,
right? That's the biggest problem, right? Like
I
if
think
there's
part of the reason though that they're not fighting is what both you and Tony just said.
Sometimes you got to fight, DDJ. Sometimes
Oh, yeah,
you
no,
just
absolutely.
Gotta throw down.
Absolutely.
Even with your brother, your daddy. Sometimes you just got to fucking
When I
go
was
outside,
growing up,
bro.
we called that an attention getter. Okay,
it's not, bro. Sometimes you have to actually display physical dominance.
Oh,
me and my one of my best friends.
To that.
Yeah,
But
I'm tracking with you, DJ.
Yeah,
I get in a fight with my close friends, and
let
that's
me
how it
finish
works.
my point. I know we kind of segued to conflict, and absolutely conflict is necessary. Conflict builds relationships, it builds character, and it also gives you the opportunity to test the veracity of your theories. But that said, I think the reason why the manosphere doesn't like to fight, I think the reason why they put people like Michael Foster on a pedestal is because there are so many people in the manosphere who live by hubris, and they are overly prideful. And so I go out of my way and I tell people, look, I am a nobody behind the keyboard. I'm just a guy. I'm fallible. I make mistakes. I know what I know, and there's a lot that I don't. And so that's why I like having these conversations. That's why I like being able to have conversations with people online, whether it's you guys or Anthony or anybody else. And so, but I think that the problem that we have in the manosphere is that, you know, people get a little bit of popularity, and many times these are people who were never popular growing up, right? These are people who, you know, they cosplay this image. They never had popularity growing up. They never knew what it was like to achieve anything in their personal life. They come onto YouTube or they come onto the internet and they're like, oh my gosh, these people are listening to me. And then they're like, it goes to their head. Right. It's like the lottery winner who's been poor all their life. They're bankrupt in 5 to 10 years. It's the same thing because they don't have that financial literacy. And so they can't handle that success. It's the same thing in the manosphere. You see this with dating coaches. You see it with PUAs. I've seen it with guys in the MGTOW community. And it goes to their head and they start thinking that there's something they're not. And then the second somebody challenges them and go, hey, you know, DDJ, you know, I disagree with that. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's fine. But if I was the hubris guy, I'd be like, oh, well, how dare you challenge me? How dare you make my pussy hurt? You know? And so at that point, now all of a sudden, you know, you get these egos that are clashing, and that's feminist thinking. And
why can't you just like debate it? Like, why can't you logically just debate it though?
Well, I think the problem that with these guys is that they're like feminists. They don't want to debate you. They want to shout you down. They don't want to hear your thoughts, and they don't want you to challenge theirs. And so they just want you. They just want you to be to understand that I'm popular. Just understand I have 100,000 subs. That's all you need to care about, right? It's bullshit like that.
Yeah,
and again, at the end of the day, we all bleed. At the end of the day, we're all fallible. And no one is an island unto themselves, and we're all interdependent upon one another. And the reality is, as we form these friendships, as we form these relationships, as we interact with each other, and the more we interact with healthy masculine men, that's where not only do we become better, but we also become examples to others, not necessarily by what we say, but by what we do.
Man, I think you nailed it. I really do. And I think the only other thing that guys got to understand about the manosphere and the way you describe YouTubers and social influencers, I think is just on the money. As I'm pretty new to this world, about 1.5 years now, and I met some guys like, oh, so you're a fraud, and then I met other guys like Pat Stedman, where I was like, Pat is super cool and chill.
Yeah,
I get
I love
it. You know, I get why people love Pat. And I've never met Alex Cortez, but I've watched Alex, and I got a lot of mutual friends, and Tanner Guzy, some of these people. I'm like, no, you guys are legit. And I meet other guys, and I'm like, oh man, like, because you know you can tell they were never cool in high school or college or anything like that, and this is an opportunity for them to like live that out. I think that's dead on the money. But I think what people need to understand is we talk a lot about grifting. And I've seen that come up. But what people need to know is some of these guys are not motivated by money. They really are motivated by hubris and ego. They really are. And they just want to win regardless if it helps you or not.
That's why I say when somebody's drawn into a corner, what happens is they're usually injured or hurt or something's gone in their life, and they're telling them it has to be this way, even though they know that that's not right or it's not working for them. So the only way you're going to leave is to be blocked on Twitter, blocked on YouTube. And the only way you're going to leave this corner is they're going to do their best on making you feel bad, like you're wrong. So when a guy is in a bad situation or a bad state of mind, he can't comprehend that. He's looking to get something good out of it. And again, I go back to knowing what's right and what's wrong and losing your identity. Now he loses his identity, so he goes back out of it, and he's in this exact same position he was when he came into it. And that's what I see.
And I agree. I think that's right on point. And I think the other thing too that, you know, as I got to rambling, because I'm getting older as well, I think the other thing that's just as important is this: when in the real world, not in the online world, but in the real world, when a lot of these guys who show up, and I said this today in Anthony's stream, and I think I need to say it more. People need to, when you're looking at these dating coaches or you're looking at these male life coaches or whatever, the question you should always ask yourself is, what kind of achievement have these people had in their personal life before they ever came to YouTube? What did they do with their life? What kind of job did they have? You know, and do some of that vetting for yourself, because the reality is that while some people may learn the lingo, they don't necessarily have the knowledge or the wisdom. They can say the words, right? They can, and they know how to deflect. They know how to argue. They're witty. But the reality is that, you know, they may have read it on a website somewhere. I mean, that's the whole basis of the Rational Male series, right? I read it on a forum. I'm going to regurgitate it using $20 words for $5 words. Now give me money. But that said, these people, the most important thing, I think, the most important takeaway in dealing with these people who are living by the hubris, who don't have any personal success outside their YouTube channel, is that once they get popular, they're so insecure, they do everything they can to hold on to it, including compromising their ethics, compromising their integrity, compromising their relationships, and all those things. And you see it all the time. I mean, look, if you've been in business with people, if you've been in the real world with people, and you've worked like coworkers and things, you know the backstabber types I'm talking about. They get a little bit of kudos, and then all of a sudden, you know, they can't allow certain people around them, or they got to set up other people because they're still chasing that success dragon because they're insecure.
We had that problem in the church. So when I started a church, I decided what I see is a lot of men go into the church because it's a way to get authority and be an authority figure and not have to prove yourself. I've had to work in the business world. I've worked for some really large corporations as a hiring manager and a consultant, and I have to prove myself by metrics, right? I have to deliver. But in the Christian world, in the church world, you get these kind of, I call them Barney Fifes, right? They're like these guys that point to the badge to get respect. They don't have any of the swagger of Andy or whatever. But one thing we decided to do when we started our church here just 5 months ago is that we would make sure all the elders, myself included, were bivocational. That we can't make our money off the church. We have to actually make our money doing a day job like all the people that come to our church, right? And I look at some of these guys and I think like they just found an easy way to make money off YouTube and their posturing. And I got an offer last year. Someone offered me 6 figures to take my podcast, It's Good to Be a Man, and make it a full-time ministry. But I thought to myself, like, you know what? That's not going to help men at all, because if I want to help men, I need to be in their position doing what they do and be able to counsel them from the life they're living, right? Like grinding it out like we all do. And when I look at a lot of these guys, I just think these dudes can't hang in real life. They're just YouTube performers. You know what I mean? They don't have the skills of a man. At least they don't anymore. I don't know if that makes sense, but as you're talking, that's what I'm thinking about. Anyhow.
Well, I think what you're trying to say is, and if I'm speaking out of turn, let me know. But I think what you're trying to say is that, men of a certain age, like I'm 50 years old, I'll be 51 this year. And so, from a 50 or a 50.
Do not sound 50.
Bro, you sound 25, dog.
Yeah, seriously.
Quit playing.
I'm 25 too. So
Quit playing.
All right. So, bro, I have a granddaughter who's 13.
Bro, what do you eat for what do you eat for breakfast, lunch, dinner? What do you normal day?
I got a comment from Anthony Velasquez I have to put up. Anthony says, "Put your face up, coward."
Oh, that's funny. Okay, so let me go ahead and address that. I think that's funny. And then, Anthony, congratulations. You finally got the attention you wanted. Good on you. Good on you.
DDJ, I feel like in today's world, the biggest issue of all issues, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sure you'd agree with me on this, is cognitive dissonance.
Absolutely.
It's like just a mass wave of cognitive dissonance.
Yeah.
And I mean,
yeah.
At the end of the day, bro, I understand what you're saying. I completely hear you. But like I used to subscribe to red pill, never was a blue pill. And now I've figured out something that I think is better than anything. It's called the Yeshua Black Pill, where I don't believe in basically anything except Jesus is the way, the Bible. Because right now we live in 2021 fucking clown world where we got everything upside down. We got fraud elections. We got all kinds of bullshit. We got computer programmers making medicine that alters people's fucking DNA. I mean, everybody's lining up to get it. Like, woo! I mean, we got people wearing masks with a 99% survivable fucking cold. All right. We got fucking people injecting fucking shit that alters their DNA made by a computer programmer because of a 99% survivable cold. Right. And then on top of all this shit, they're rolling out a 5G network. Nobody knows that same computer programmer was working on MK Ultra programs down in Latin America, right? And then all of a sudden, we have a fucking surge of Latin Americans with the 5G network extended, and nobody can connect the dots because they're fucking low IQ in this country. Cognitive fucking dissonance. That's what I'm saying, bro. None of this shit matters, all right? Your shoe is the way black fucking pill. I haven't drinking fluoride since I was like fucking 10, bro. My pineal gland wide open, bro. I haven't drinking.
No. I love
it. Yeah, Grim, I love it because your voice has changed. When you came on, you had a Southern accent. I did not pick up on that New York accent.
Look, man, I'm a chameleon, all right? I'm a fucking social ninja. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
I'm here to say things. I love everyone.
Killer. That's killer.
I love God. And this world's fucked. I love you guys. Black pill, Yeshua.
Good looking out, man. There you go.
Yeah. Right on. Okay, I want to go back real quick because at the start of this conversation when DDJ came on, one of the things I wanted to say was that is this in the Bible, Michael Foster, that it takes a village to raise a child?
No.
Or is that something just Hillary Clinton said?
Hillary Clinton said it. The concept of a community being a big part of raising people certainly is in scripture. And yeah. So I would say Deuteronomy chapter 6 is a pretty good one. But yeah, there's a sense where you have extended family and village elders and things that play a part. But when she says it, what you have to understand is she's looking at that through a status mindset. So when the Romans were killing Christians in the first 3 centuries, they killed them on the basis of them being atheists, believe it or not. What they would say Christians were atheists because Christians would not worship Caesar as God. And so they would say, you have to say Caesar as Lord, and they refused to do that. And so what you see today in America is a resurrection of the status God worshiping, where the government is raised to the level of God.
Yeah.
And that's an old Roman idea, and the Christians rejected it, and it got the Christians killed until God, through His mercy, it was Theodosius, and then eventually it was what's his name? Help me out. Constantine were the ones that made Christianity a legal religion, and they weren't killed like they had been for the first 3 centuries. But yeah, so I think like when Hillary Clinton says that it takes a village, what she really means, it takes a secular evil government to raise a kid. Well, when we say it, we mean it takes mom, dad, aunts and uncles, and the wise, godly family around the corner. 2 different things, right?
My wife's Cuban. She does it all, bro. She's a savage.
There you go. There you go. Some of those old cultures.
And I think Michael makes a really good point too, in that a lot of these secular ideologues, a lot of these leftists, the communists, the socialists, the NWO types, they play with language. They change definitions. They make contextual definitions because that's what they have to do to fit their situational ethics, or in this case, lack thereof. And so, it's important to be able to have a consistent set of definitions when people are having certain conversations, because certain words are charged in certain ways, especially because we all come from different sorts of, subcultures and parts of the country and those types of things. And I think that's one of the advantages of here where, we all find common ground in the Bible, even if our interpretations are a little bit different.
Well, and to your point, so communism is a lie, socialism is a lie, it's impossible, it never works. And so to make it seem like it worked, it's a word game, right? They have to hide things. They have to redefine things to make it seem logical, right? But it's completely illogical, and it never works. And what I like about the red pill and the MGTOW communities, what I find advantageous is a desire to like define terms and try to work through it. I think that's a good male. Like men, what's interesting about men is that men will spend more time studying the rules of the game than even playing the game, excuse me. And that's because they understand the rules of the game is the game. And that's like, that goes back to George Orwell, understanding whoever controls the language controls the country. And that's where we're at right now. And that's why we have to say, like, people say, hey, are you a Presbyterian? I am. Or are you a Calvinist? And I'll say, well, I mean, what do you mean by Calvinist? What do you mean by that? And force them to define. And maybe they define it rightly in a way we agree. And I would say, well, yeah, we do. But actually having conversations where we define our terms and are reasonable people, I think the manosphere can help people by pushing ideas ahead, you know what I mean, with like set definitions. But our culture is very fluid and relativistic, and that makes it very difficult to have these conversations.
Right. And I think that that goes back to that whole idea of, absolute truth, which is God, and then you have relative truth, and then after relative truth, you have subjective truth, right? I think that those things are extremely important to know, kind of that hierarchy as far as that's concerned. So
Tony, can I address a question that was asked of me in
Sure.
the stream? I saw this. So this is Jake the Red Pill. He says, what do you have to say about polygamy in the Bible? Rich men can have, I assume is what he means, as many wives and concubines as they can afford. Monogamy is a new concept. The idea that monogamy is a new concept, I wonder what Bible you're reading, because in Genesis 1, God creates one man, one woman, and that's the archetypical or prototypical marriage, which is what Jesus again states again. I think it's Matthew chapter 19. So Jesus says that's normal. So polygamy doesn't happen to Lamech in chapter 4 of Genesis, and it's attached to violence and not a good thing. Anytime you see polygamy in scripture, whether it's Rachel and Leah with Jacob, or if it's with Solomon with his many wives, it leads to some sort of compromise. Polygamy happens where society is unstable, and there's guys that have concentrated power at the top that can provide women protection, but it's not in a place where a society is stable. Where society is stable, if you want to use like a sort of like Vox Day, where there's a society that allows for deltas to be around, you don't have polygamy. So polygamy is not normative in Scripture. What you have is in the historic portions of Scripture, it's descriptive, saying like this is what happened, but it's not prescriptive. It's not advised at any time. And so that's what I would say, is that what's ideal is for one man, one woman for a whole life, raising up their children together.
Well, yeah, and in the case of Jacob in the Bible, right? Like he didn't ask for that, right? Like he didn't want that situation to happen to him. He actually got tricked into that situation where he got his multiple wives.
That's exactly right. Yeah. Interesting enough, is that Jacob is buried closer to Leah than he is to Rachel. So even though that Rachel was his preference, he ends up having more kids by Leah and seemingly more in love with her at the end, which is kind of a interesting footnote of Scripture. But polygamy is not normal. Look, every time someone brings up polygamy, there's some guy that can't get a girl. Like it's like a guy, if he can't get a girl, he wants to know. A guy that can't get a girl wants to know, like, well, what if I could get 10 girls? It's like, hey man, once you get one first, right?
Trust me, nobody wants 10 headaches.
Right? Like that's why my wife always rolls her eyes when I talk about, like, can you imagine having yet another woman to manage? Like, I just can't. I can't imagine it.
One thing I want to take a break here quick, and I want to wish Gonzo a happy birthday. Yeah, so everybody, it's Gonzo's birthday today.
Happy birthday, Gonzo.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
How old are you, dog?
How's 19 feel?
Oh man, feels like 18.
23, right, Gonzo?
Yeah, 23. 23, yeah. Yeah.
Congrats,
so
man.
do I apply for the senior discount yet?
Not yet.
Bro, you look a little older than 23, bro. It might be the beard, though. Make
It's
you a
the
little
beard,
older.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's
if
the
you
hat.
shave, bro, you might have the baby
In the
face,
hat,
you know
in
what
the hat, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, 23 is great, man.
I mean? Well, congratulations, bro. One more year on planet Earth.
No
Appreciate it,
shit.
guys.
Well, guys, I'm going to start wrapping it up. Anthony, do you have anything to say? I know. Oh, wait, it's avatars or BS.
I got something to say real quick, Tony, if you don't mind.
Go ahead, man.
So, does the majority of people here believe that we are made in the Creator's image?
Yes.
And, like, does the majority of people here believe that the Creator is the Word?
Depends what you mean by that.
Yeah.
I believe Jesus Christ is the
Is
Son,
the Word, the
Logos.
Word is with Him,
Yeah,
right?
the word,
Logos.
is, yeah, the
Yeah.
word is the truth. It's the truth.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so all I want to say is just know, right? That you got 46 chromosomes in your DNA. Don't let anybody edit them.
Right. Nobody wants an extra chromosome.
No,
I
you
can
got
co-sign that. I'm
you
down
got
with that.
23 from the semen, 23 from the egg. All right, ladies and gentlemen.
Right.
Yeah. So I think it was an interesting conversation tonight. It took a nice turn for a while.
Shout out to my man Andrew down there in the bottom. Much
Yeah.
love, bro. He's been cheering me on all night.
Yeah. But yeah. So any last words from anybody here? I want to really thank BDJ for jumping on tonight, and Michael Foster, and of course Grim Chemist, dude. This was awesome. You're welcome on anytime.
Thank you, Tony, for having me. Thank you, Mr. Foster here for having some discussions. Thank you, Gonzo, for having a birthday.
Well
Thank
done,
you,
man.
Anthony, for cheering me on all night. Thank you, DDJ, for being a philanthropist. And thank you, Primal Man, for hanging out there and looking cool.
There it
That's
is.
about all I did tonight, fellas.
Bro, you look hella cool, though, when you be there, though. So it
Well,
makes the
you were
whole stream look
like
cooler.
reigning over. It's like you were sitting on the throne back there, going, "I just got to make sure this is good, right?"
Well, I mean, in the words of Kellen Del Barkland, if you just shut up and smoke weed,
That's
you
right.
look fucking cool.
It looked fucking cool. Exactly. But I really do. You know, I think this stream tonight was.
Amazing.
It really was.
Just to go back to being dumber, I don't want to cut you off, but marijuana. If you think I'm dumb, I smoke lots of marijuana, so I wanted to be a testament that you could actually
not
have a
dumb.
high IQ. and
No,
smoke
no,
marijuana.
I don't believe that. When I said that, I said the dumbing down of America, which I think.
Oh, I agree, but I think more of that is the social media.
Yeah, it sedates people into. It just. I think it's like Gonzo was saying. We need to find the cure on why people need to be sedated versus.
If you want to be a better man, take your phone and just throw it out.
Yeah.
And just live without a phone in your pocket.
Yep.
I haven't had a phone in my pocket for 20 years. I used to sell business loans. I never needed a phone. So if you want to be a better man, remember the numbers you need and start doing math right there in your head. Don't use Google. Remember shit. Read books and fucking throw your phone in the garbage. You don't need it.
Well, I would like to say thank you guys for having me on. The conversation was awesome. And Anthony, I appreciate all your support and observations. Everybody's been great. You're number one as well. Good looking out, man. And yeah, thanks, guys.
I love you, Anthony. I love you, bro.
You know what?
I love you, man.
If
I'll
you're
come
gonna
on again with my camera. I promise. I'll come with the
you're
camera.
gonna- if you're gonna come on, if
I
you're gonna
won't come
come
back
on and
without a
speak,
camera.
no.
I promise.
How do you not have a fucking camera? Where the fuck are you?
I got one, but my fucking whole shit, my green screen ain't set up right now, so I ain't trying to fuck around. You feel me?
Fuck you. You
I like to be professional with it, Anthony.
You're a pussy. You're a pussy, dude. You're a fucking pussy.
Just remember.
You talk good shit.
Love is not hate. It's
I like what you say. I like what you say, but you have to fucking be a man
You
to say
can't
it.
say I'm a pussy because I didn't put my
Well, I
camera
don't
on.
know.
I got a situation. I got little kids running around. Look, I tried to explain to you. I got little kids running around. I didn't want my kids being on the camera. Next time when I got my shit set up, I'll have a camera on.
I totally understand that, dude.
And I won't
I
come
totally
back
understand. I understand it. I understand that. But
all right.
But you have to respect that.
I love you.
If you don't show your face,
I will not come back here without showing my face. I will not show my face here again without showing my face. All right?
Grim Chemist, I will tell you this. If you come on with another avatar, I will let you on. What do you think of that?
Yeah, you're going to get the fuck. You're going to, you know what? If he comes on with another avatar, his avatar is going to be this.
What if I come on with
a
picture of him as my avatar?
Yeah, you're going to be me.
Grim Chemist, I'll tell you what, why don't we switch avatars for next time?
That was great. I love it. I love it.
You know what? But I will say, Grim Chemist and whatever the hell your JJ, whatever the hell your name is, you're good. You're
Bob
real
Lewis
good.
is my real name. Yeah.
Bob Lewis, you're fucking real good. Come back.
Right on, man. It was good chatting with you. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you guys having me.
All right, DDJ. Thank you. Thank you. Any last words from anybody else? Michael Foster, Primal Man.
Yeah, I want Grim Chemist to come hang out with us on Monday Night Man Hour one night.
Yeah, definitely. Check out Primal Man's channel, Grim Chemist.
Okay.
He does
I'll check that out.
night. Yeah,
for sure, bro.
Same thing with everybody, man. This took a great
your channel, Tony, again. I want to subscribe to it.
It's Tony Bruno T21 Surfer.
He sounds like Paul, man. It's fucking Paul.
Who here has YouTube channels so that you guys can shout them out? Because I don't.
Yeah,
I have one, but I don't ever do anything on it. So it's got like.
Yeah, we'll start with me. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at T21 Surfer. Of course, this channel, and that's T21 Surfer. This channel is Tony Bruno, T21 Surfer. If you just search Tony Bruno, it usually pops right up. And that's how you find me. If anybody wants to reach out to me, direct message me on Twitter, Instagram, T21 Surfer. Gonzo?
Yeah, you can find all my stuff at Gonzo School on YouTube. So that's Gonzo School. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. I also have a website called The Lurking Press where I do artwork and I do all that kind of thing. Also, I sell my courses.
Here's some of Gonzo's artwork. This is some of our streams. This was this was on my birthday. Yeah. So Gonzo draws everything pretty much that we're talking about. So there it all is right there.
Yeah.
I don't see any pictures of pussies on that image. I'm just saying.
Well, this is from my birthday on 11/7.
I just checked out Gonzo's stream. Gonzo's got some cool shit on his thing, bro.
Yeah,
I just checked it out. And when I subscribed, bro, I was like, I mean, I looked at it first. I wasn't just gonna randomly subscribe to it. You feel me? But he has some cool shit on there.
Yeah. Well, subscribe to my channel too, also, Grim Chemist.
Yeah, I hit you already. I subscribed to you, Gonzo, and Primal Man. If anyone else got a channel, Primal Man, I'll be there Monday, bro.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
Let's go. Primal Man, how can everybody find you? Instagram and your channel.
Primal Man is my YouTube channel, like you see on the screen, and you can find me on the Instagram at Mantidote, MAN_Tadote, like antidote, Manadote. Check it out
on Pornhub.
Yeah, you can probably find me there too.
All right, DDJ, how can everybody find you?
All right, everybody can find me on YouTube, BitChute, and Odyssey at Misandry Today. You can check out my website at misandrytoday.com. I am banned on Facebook because they don't like wrongthink. So you can find me on Gab at Misandry Today, and you can find me on Minds. And you can go to any of those places. I've got cross links so you can find those other things. And you can find my book, The Feminist Lie, on Amazon.
Excellent. Michael Foster? Telegram, right?
I am I'm on at www.grimchemist.com is where I talk about Yeshua.
Yo, Michael Foster, bro.
It's all in Hebrew. I want to be warned.
Yo, real talk, bro. You might like my song though. I rap about God with no curses. All right. You might.
But
really
do you
like
rap
my
in
stuff.
Hebrew? That's the question.
No, I don't rap in Hebrew.
I might like it. That's cool.
You might like it, bro. Check me out, bro.
I will.
SoundCloud.com/GrimShaman. All right.
Tony can tell you that I'm willing to roll. I'm willing to hear people out.
So I got some really good stuff, bro, about God. You might like it.
I believe
no
you, man.
cursing.
I like it. I like what I hear. I'm if you want to, I'm most active on Twitter for the moment at This Is Foster. You figured it out. And on Gab. Those are the two places I'm most active right now.
And Telegram. This is
Foster. On Telegram. I do stuff on Telegram. I think it's I Am Foster there.
Is it?
I think it is. Some jerk took This Is Foster.
Is it? Let me just make sure because I listen to your stuff all the time on Telegram.
Yeah, the Telegram is great. I'm gonna second that.
Are you on there? Oh, that's crazy.
Foster on Telegram.
Praise God. Glad to hear it. No, I'm always happy to be on these things and interact with you guys. And my goal is to convert Anthony back to the one true religion. Back away from the whore of Babylon that is the papacy. And once I do that, my job is done here and I can sleep well.
I agree with you there, Michael.
Holy shit.
We have come full circle.
Michael, I think you can do it with Hebrew rap music.
There's no Hebrew.
Why
are you putting words in my mouth? There's no Hebrew. The only Hebrew word is Yeshua, all right, in that rap music.
As long as you get triggered, it'll continue to be fun.
I'm not triggered. Dog. Yo, the music is legitimate, all right? It talks about all the real problems we have in this world. Talks about God, relates everything, and it doesn't curse.
I'm going there. What I want to see.
I don't even say one N-word. Not even one.
N-word.
How do we find you, Grim Chemist? Of course, your channel, Grim Chemist.
I got Grim Chemist on YouTube. My SoundCloud, I think, is Grim Shaman, SHAMAN, and the song is Honor to God.
Okay, cool. Right on. All right, Anthony Velasquez. You can find Anthony on Instagram, Saint Anthony of Pasadena. That's all you got to look for. St. Anthony of Pasadena. That's how
There's only one. There's only one.
Anthony, what decade are you in right now? What decade are you existing in? What time span? I don't even know where you're at.
Yeah. Well, Michael Foster. I mean, I don't want to get Tony banned on YouTube because if you have somebody from another time. I mean, that's an instant fucking ban.
Oh, yeah,
honestly.
All right.
So let's just not even talk about it.
Yeah.
But obviously, I'm not from the same time as you are. So
he's from Florida.
No, I would not. I'm from the future, so I know I would never go to Florida. No one would do that.
All right, guys. I think it's a wrap. Cheers, everybody. Thanks. It was a great show, man. I appreciate all you guys. If you want to stick around for the after party, you got something to say, Anthony?
Well, I want to apologize to the Avatar people that I called pussies. You're not pussies, but if you want to fight me, I'm in Pasadena. If you want to have a fucking rumble, let's do it.
I mean, I don't know about DDJ. I'll fight you, bro, but he might be a pussy. I'll throw it
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
I'll come down to
Friends
Florida,
don't
bro.
let-
We'll have
let-
it. You want
I'm
to
in
Pasadena,
Florida.
Florida, or Pasadena, California?
I'm in California, so
Yeah, friends that let friends go to California.
yeah. Just if you want to fight me in California, fine.
I'm just saying. You want to be on World Star, dog? We can be on World Star.
If you just want to be my friend, that's fine. Whatever, I don't care.
You want a
know
hug
what
or
I mean?
something?
Fair enough.
I'll give you a hug,
Looking
bro.
out, man.
We can do blades.
You want
okay
a
with that.
hug or you want a drinking contest? I could probably outdrink you.
Blades.
I seen you have like 2 beers.
Blood brothers. Blood
Oh,
brothers.
Jesus, here we go.
What are you gonna do with that little box cutter, bro? Get out of here, bro. We're not in prison.
Cheers, guys. We're gonna wrap it up.
Real
Yeah,
weapon,
right, I
Anthony.
appreciate
Get you
everybody
a gun.
Yeah, come back Thursday night. Thursday night is on this channel. It's Thursday night reality check. We're gonna have a special guest this Thursday night, and just so you guys know, I believe it's going to be Alexander Juan Antonio Cortez talking about physical fitness. So AJ Cortez is going to probably be on with us Thursday night.
And
So,
am I correct in saying that that's going to be an all Avatar night?
yes, it is. All avatars.
I'll be the only guy with a face if I show up on that night. Because I can't be a liar. You can't make me be a liar.
Oh man. All right, guys. Show your face. Show your goddamn face.
I would if I had the thing
Guys.
right now, bro.
Cheers.
Thank you, Tony. You are the
Thank
man,
you.
bro.
Have a good night, guys.